ready, my friend?
Yes. What the hell are we talking about? I just showed up.
That's it. I appreciate you having the faith to just show up.
Yeah.
My friend Alison is here. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's bring people up to speed on how we got here. Mm-hmm. You and I went to high school together.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell them where?
Yeah, of course.
The Pride and Joy of Bed-Stuy Boys and Girls High School.
Yes.
And in that building, there was no strangers.
Nope.
You know, even if you didn't run in the same circles, we would cordial. You say hello, send you salute, go your way. Years later, I would play college basketball. I would walk into one of the opposing gyms. I look up. Who do I see? My friend Alison working as a cheerleading coach. Mm-hmm. Just a few years ago, a new family moves in the neighborhood.
Yep.
I look up to see who it is. It's my friend Alison.
You make it seem like I'm following you. I think I might be following you.
No. And then one day, I was on social media, and it was one of those big blog accounts, and it was my friend Alison, but she was serving as a relationship coach, creating conversation. There was a lot of engagement. I was blown away. I had no idea you were working in that field and doing a great job also. You remember that post? What was that, the Shade Room?
I think so. I want to say that. Yeah, the Shade Room. I got reposted a couple of times. Shade Room on site, kind of.
I think you were talking about asking a woman should ask a man out on the first date or pay.
Yes, that was the conversation.
Tell me about that post. How'd that come about?
You know, I don't remember how it came about, but I know where I was. I was in the living room, and I really don't remember what caused me to think about it, but I said I'm gonna make a little reel talking about who should pay for the first date. And I know some of these conversations have been recycled, but they're recycled, right? So we're still talking about it. So I said, I'll make a little video. So I did a little video, and I said, honestly, whoever asks to take the person on the date should be the person who pays for the date. I don't think that this needs to be gender specific. I ain't asking nobody, so I ain't paying. But if I did, that's just the way that I think that it should be. Somebody picked it up. I don't know why, but somebody picked it up. I guess one of the writers from the Shade Room, it came across their timeline. They reposted it, got a ton of followers. But can I tell you, going viral ain't all that. Because a lot of times you get attacked. You get a lot of people attacked, internet attack, right? Ain't nobody touching me, but internet attack. And then you get a lot of people who aren't in your core audience who end up following. I got like 14-year-old boys following me. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to buy a thing. They're not my target audience. So I think it looks good on a lot of times. Like people feel good to get reposted. But a lot of times the following count does not necessarily represent income. Because I'm a business. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can have a whole bunch of followers. But if these people aren't taking action, they're not downloading your stuff, they're not getting on your list, they're not buying a course, then it looks good on paper. But what matters is what looks good in your bank account and what impact you're having in society. So, yeah.
For sure. Let's talk about this career as a relationship coach.
Yeah.
When? How? How did this start, man?
It's a multi-layered story, and I always struggle with which version should I present. It depends on who I'm talking to. So if we're doing like an entrepreneurial conversation, I go from that angle. If we're having like emotional, so I'm gonna give it to you all, the whole thing, and then you just let me know, Alison, all right, shut up, wrap it up, I ain't need all that. All right, so let's look at the financial element. So this is 2020. And I work for the city of New York, and I see de Blasio, who was the mayor of New York City at the time, on the news. And he said something that I've never heard before in my life. He said, we're thinking about making some significant cuts. We're going to be letting go a lot of city employees. And I'm like, we've been taught our whole lives, you get you a good city job, you get you a good state job, the pension, the insurance, And so I'm like, I did what I was supposed to do. I went to college, I got me a good city job, and then now I'm sitting back and they're talking about letting go 100,000, I think, or maybe it was like 300,000 people. Now, I felt like my job was relatively secure, but just hearing that language made me very afraid.
Right.
Because again, we're so accustomed to hearing, you good, you good, you good. So I'm like, nah, I need to work for myself. Like, I need to be able to control the kind of money I'm making because these people just let me go. And a lot of people learned that lesson in COVID. Like, you could just get let go willy-nilly, right?
Big time.
So this is May of 2020. Luckily for me, I got on to the podcast EYL, Earn Your Leisure, in January of 2020. So before COVID hit, I got on to this whole entrepreneurial movement and all that kind of stuff. And so I started listening to them about, and I'm going to be frank, I'm listening to their guests, and I'm like, their guests are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. They're not smarter than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they've been through way worse stuff than me. People who are in prison, they have felonies on their records, not raised by their parents. Like, they've been through way worse than me. They're not smarter than me, and they're making way more money than me. So this already was implanted. Then when COVID hit, and I'm like, I can't rely on the city in order to pay my bills. I'm like, yo, I need to start a business. What am I going to do, though? So now this is the emotional part. So I go into the my group chat. I got two chats. I got my chat with my best friends, and then I have another group chat with my middle school friends. Okay. Now, this is beneficial because we just send memes and talk shit all day, right? But I needed that chat because sometimes when you have your friends who are super, super close, they too close to you, right? They can't see, right? So I needed somebody with a little bit of distance. So I go in my group chat, and I'm like, yo, y'all, I want to start a business. De Blasio said, da-da-da-da-da. What do you think I should do? What am I good at? One of my friends, her name is Rosa, she's a nurse. She said, yo, Alison, you're really good at telling people what to do. Like, you speak with authority and people listen to you and they execute. You're good at telling people what to do. Sure. So she said, why don't you become a motivational speaker? I'm like, this is the beginning of COVID, people dying. Like, ain't nobody, like, I don't really see how that could work. Yeah. So I Googled it. I said, like, what other jobs are related to motivational speaking? Because we can't get into a group at this point in May of 2020. So I'm like, all right, I came across coaching. I'm like, all right, what about coaching? Maybe I could consider that. I took a course, finished the course, became certified. The last day of the course, they was like, yo.
Coaching in what specifically?
So life coaching.
Okay.
So they said nobody is a life coach. They said nobody. They said everyone who is successful is very specific. You have to niche down. You can't just be a life coach. Right. And the reason is because when you have your message, when you go online, when you start talking, you need to be able to use the language that's going to target people, that they're going to hear, right? So if you are a co-parenting coach, you're working with parents to teach them how to co-parent healthy because they've separated but they have a kid, you're going to be using language that's going to be specific to their needs, right? You're going to be the word narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist. You're going to use language like, I know that you think he's a narcissist, but this is what you can do. You're going to be talking about finances. You're going to be talking about childcare. You're going to be using language that makes sense to that person, so they will tune into you, right? Yes. They said if you are a performance coach, you work with athletes to help them to break through kind of whatever struggles that they have, and they had an injury, now they're afraid to come back. You're a performance coach, you work with athletes, you're going to be using language that is associated to them, so they're going to hear you. Yeah. So she's like, no one is a life coach. You have to decide specifically what you're going to do. Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. So I had to sit back, and I'm like, yo, I'm not a performance coach. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a parent at the time. I'm like, I don't know shit about finances. I don't know nothing about small business, all the coaching that I know about. I was like, yo, you know what I know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday, September 23rd, WBH Radio, live and in person from New York City. This event is a celebration of the community that is formed around this show. So yes, the special guest of honor that night is you. You're not going to want to miss it. We have a fun, interactive night in store. I have a surprise announcement. Plus, you never know who's going to show up. So ladies and gentlemen, tickets are on sale now. Please make sure you get yours. You're not going to want to miss it. I look forward to seeing you all there.
But I know men, right? I'm a woman. I'm an attractive woman. I've engaged with men throughout my entire life.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm like, I know how they think. I know how they function, right? And I said to myself, initially, I wanted to work with men because I've been told that I have there's a masculine energy about me. And I feel like I relate with men very well. Okay. I have female friends, but I relate with men. So I wanted to work with them initially, but then I realized that men won't listen to me, and that's fine. So anywho, and the same exact message that their boy will tell them, they will absolutely understand and appreciate and absorb and take action. I said the same thing. They wasn't going to listen. Cool. It's fine. Again, I know men. That's how they roll, and that is what it is.
Sounds about right.
So I said, yo, I know dudes. Like, I know men. I know how they function. I know how they think. I should get into the relationship space. This was like days, the first few days. I did that early on. And I could work with them to say they could get into the relationships that they desire. Right. Then when I thought about it, I'm like, nah, dudes ain't gonna listen to me. I said, yo, instead of me working with dudes, I'm gonna work with women. Same idea, because I was able to end a relationship that wasn't serving me. I was in a relationship with a dude for 4 years. He wasn't moving as quickly as I thought we should be moving. Right. And what I mean by that is everybody gonna say, oh, she was talking about an engagement. It wasn't that. I said, or not that only. I said, when we gonna get a savings account together, right? Okay. I didn't say close your checking account and just throw your money. Both of us contribute, you know what I'm saying? Right. When we gonna get a savings account? No answer. When we gonna buy a house? No answer. When we gonna have a baby? No answer. When we gonna get engaged? No answer. When we gonna get married? So to me, you're not serious about me.
So hold on, what was your relationship status at this point when you are looking to start this entrepreneurial endeavor?
So I was engaged.
Okay.
So May 2020, I was engaged.
Okay.
And that was important to me because what I find a lot of the people who are in my space right now, who are in the dating and relationship space, are not in happy, committed relationships. They are not happily married, but yet they're giving people advice. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have that status in order to be knowledgeable, but I would say that I think it goes further, right? And for me, I would not want to hire someone who isn't where I want to be or hasn't exceeded where I want it to be.
For sure. Makes sense.
So I'm not going to hire a financial advisor who's broke. I'm not going to hire a fitness trainer who's fat. Like this is right. Like this is just it. So for me, it was important to me. It happened to be I was engaged, but it was important to me that y'all know that this is where I am and I'm happy in my relationship. So that when you listen to my advice, it's coming from someone who has the experience and not just somebody who's willy-nilly.
It's amazing that you went on that journey and you kind of found that, hey, I'm going to work with women. I'm surprised that wasn't the first idea because it seems right up your alley. You do such a great job with it. You know what I'm saying? You put something online. Again, your story is phenomenal, and that's why I'm surprised that like it didn't click right away that, hey, I'm going to help women. Because you told the story about attending a wedding by yourself or without a date.
Yeah.
And you vowed, I ain't doing this again.
Yep. I wanted to walk out. I was in the cocktail hour. So, it's the wedding ceremony, then it's the cocktail hour, and then it's the actual reception. I was in the cocktail hour, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. This is mad embarrassing. I'm here alone. And I was in a relationship at the time. I was in that 4-year that's not going anywhere. I was in a relationship. Actually, I don't know if he's a former athlete. I guess he's an active athlete. He's an athlete overseas, played ball overseas. Okay. So he wasn't in the city, in the state, in the country. He wasn't here.
Well, he couldn't be there.
Yeah, he couldn't, which was annoying to me. So that's not a good fit, right?
Okay, it's your relationship. Yes, right.
Right. It's not a good fit for me because this is happening over and over and over again, and I don't feel good about the fact that I'm constantly having to attend events alone. People ain't looking at me, and I know, you shouldn't care about what other people think. We all do, so stop it, right?
So you at this wedding by yourself? Whose wedding is your friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend's wedding. I'm by myself. I'm in the cocktail. I'm like, I want to leave. I want to get in my car. I want to walk out of here. I want to get in my car and I want to leave because I'm so uncomfortable. I'm tired of going and being the third wheel and being alone. And people assuming probably that I'm single because I'm always by myself. Every birthday, every Valentine's Day. So yes, he couldn't, but that don't mean I have to accept the fact that he couldn't, right?
Right.
So I'm at this wedding and I wanted to leave. I decided that I'm not going to be selfish because it's not about me, right? You go to somebody's wedding, it's to celebrate them. So I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to stay at this wedding, but I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing it again.
And that's why I kind of like your content because you speak from a position of like, yo, I can do something to change my life. I think a lot of women sit back with their arms folded and say, yo, there's not enough good men. I tried. I'm like, Beyonce Knowles was able to find her spouse. Michelle Obama was able to find her spouse. Like, it's a competitive game. You got to go out there and do it. So as you sit here today, you are a mother, you are a wife. What steps did you take after that wedding to go after the life you wanted?
Yeah. So the first thing I had to decide was that I'm not doing this anymore. So the relationship that I was in wasn't serving me. It may have served others, and that's okay. So I had to decide, nah, I'm not doing this, right? And it's nothing outrageous. No cheating as far as I know. Athletes is athletes. You know that. But no cheating as far as I know. Nothing that was in my face. No abuse, no disrespect. This is just not enough for me. Right. So I had to make that decision. This ain't enough. And I know that sounds simple, but there are plenty of women who really just sit in relationships unhappy, but they say they got a man, so it's good enough. Nah, that's not good enough for me. So I had to dead that. That's number one. That was step number one. Then step number two is, what were some of the behaviors and traits that I was exhibiting that may make being in a relationship with me more difficult than what it needs to be? Because he's not a bad person, right? But I'm thinking actually he's smarter than me because he probably saw something that I couldn't see that, nah, this ain't working. Now, what would have been nice is say, sis, I'm not getting no apartment with you, and I'm not buying no house, I'm not doing nothing, so I'm gonna let you go. Right. That would have been the right thing to do, but at least he didn't, engage me, marry me, knowing it wasn't gonna work. So he probably saw something I couldn't see. But nonetheless, ended that relationship, and then I said, yo, like, what are some of the things about me that's really not that cute? Right? Like that I could afford to work on so that when I get into another relationship, I'm showing up as the best version of myself.
How tough was that looking in the mirror and questioning yourself? What was that like? That's not an easy step.
Well, it's easy for me, right? I'm a very introspective person. So it's easy for me to be reflective and I'm honest and I know me. So it was easy for me. A lot. I think people know. I think people know if they're assholes. I know if people know that they're difficult. I think people know if they're insensitive. I think people know if they're overly sensitive. Like people know whether or not they choose to take action to change the behavior or whether or not they know how to change the behavior. It's a different story.
Had you had that conversation with yourself at other stages in your life?
Me knowing like what my problems are?
Yeah.
I don't know about conversations. I think I knew. And I had a friend who told me too. I had a really good friend who told me my problem. Let me be specific what my problem was. One of my, faults. I'm very argumentative. I enjoy arguing. This is a bad thing. I enjoy making people feel stupid. So, and that I find joy in that. I think I still find it. I just don't do it. So I don't know if that's changed or not. I just don't act on it, but I still find joy. Like if I have time, and I don't anymore, but if I have time, I will go on a rampage on Instagram or on Twitter or on Threads or on whatever else, just making people feel stupid with facts.
Okay.
I don't have the time anymore, and it's not really great for my brand, so I've stopped, but that's my thing. Who wants to come home to somebody who can't wait to argue with them and then make them feel small, especially men who are already extremely sensitive?
Noted.
Right?
Right.
That's an undesirable trait.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the kind of trait that makes you sit in your car for 30 minutes because you don't want to go in the house, right? And then eventually you go sit in somebody else's apartment, then you lay in somebody else's bed. So nonetheless, that was the thing that I knew about me. I knew that I enjoyed arguing. I mean, people, you should have been a lawyer. Like I hear, so I know that. That's nothing new to me. And so I had to come up with, well, I need to change the behavior in order to be more attractive.
Wow.
Right? For a long time. I mean, attractive in the sense of I can attract a partner in the beginning, but then is this long-standing? Is it healthy? Is it desirable? Right. Is it going to the next steps? Am I getting engaged? Am I getting married? Am I fulfilled? Is he fulfilled? Like all those things. I need to work on it. So that's what I did. It was easy for me. I can imagine it's more difficult for others.
Accountability. This is something everybody struggles with, not just in relationships, man. So it's really amazing to hear you say, yo, after this relationship, he wasn't performing to the standard you wanted, but you still went to the mirror and said, yo, how can I be better?
Yeah.
I think this is phenomenal. In your coaching career, what are some of the most common misconceptions like women have about dating?
Yeah. One of the biggest misconceptions or behaviors that are problematic is that they have a few failures, and so it's all dudes ain't ish, and so I'm not doing this anymore. So, and what I explain to them, the comparison I give them all the time, and they appreciate it because they're women, they get it. I said, if you went to 3 or 4 hairstylists and they didn't do your hair right, are you never doing your hair again?
Boom!
That's unrealistic, right? You're going to go to different hairstylists. You're going to look for recommendations. If you're, let's say, doing a weave or braids, you're going to find different hair types that you're going to sew in or braid in. You're going to look at what hairstyles are the best fit for your face. So maybe you need a shortcut. Maybe you need long hair. You're going to color it. You're going to lock it. You're not going to give up just because 4 hairstylists failed you. You're not never going to do your hair again and just get 3, 4 big locks to just grow out on its own, right? So you got to do the same thing with relationships. You just have to be more particular about your vetting process to ensure that you're choosing people who are a better match. And just because a relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean it failed. Did you learn from the experience, and then are you doing better pickings again? So if I go to another hairstylist and it's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm getting closer to, I'm winning. I'm getting closer to the look that I want. I'm getting closer to the partner that I want. So one of the big mistakes is, I got my heart broken 3 times, which, by the way, this is not exclusive to women.
Right.
Men are actually way worse. They got their heart broken in 5th grade, and then now it's, I'm wilding. Like, I'm out in these streets. I'm out here. Like, okay, sir, like, you were 7, all right? Like, or whatever age you are in 5th grade. So that's one of the big mistakes. every relationship, everything is a risk.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is a risk. Every relationship you get into is a risk. It needs to be a calculated risk, right? You have to like hedge your bets. So what can I do to get closer to what I desire? And so if that, again, that might mean only dating people that is a part of a bigger circle so that I know, all right, well, that's Will's voice. Let me talk to Will. Let me find out, what do you think about him? He got a wife, right? So get some more info. So maybe that's one way to hedge your bets. Another way that you're going to do it is, and the guys might not like this, hold off on sex. Don't rush to the bedroom. Go out on dates. Have more phone conversations so that when you say, they're only using you for sex, well, you're giving it up mad fast. So then what do you need to hold out. Let's see if something falls apart so that you can say, yes, I didn't give it up. And it didn't work out, so I don't have another body on my list. So hedging your bets, being more careful, being more cognizant, like figuring out ways that you can be closer to what you desire and learning from your experiences and applying those lessons thereafter.
When you first started coaching, how'd you get the word out there? Like, what were those early days like? What worked? What didn't work?
Yeah. So social media. And as a coach, I'm going to tell anybody who has a goal, and if you know that you don't have the skill set, you need to hire a coach, right? So at the time, I think personally, I had like 4,000 followers on Instagram. Those are people I knew I met throughout the years. Obviously, most of those people are not going to be my target audience. Like half of them are going to be men, whatever. Some of them are married, some are gay, some whatever. So I had personal people. So what I did was I hired a coach, and this coach specifically teaches you how to leverage social media for your business.
Wow.
So some of the things that she taught, number one, you got to go live. Go live. If you could do it 2-3 times a week. Let people see your face. Let them hear your voice. Let them learn about you so you can build your like, know, and trust factor. I like you, I know you, I trust you, so now I can give you my money, right? So going live. So the first thing I did is I went live. I said, hey guys, I'm starting this new business venture. And I told them the same story I told y'all. I was the money part, which is I'm afraid for my job. The emotional part, which is I want to help people. I've been through this. I ended a relationship. I worked on myself. I got back into the scene. And literally the next guy that I dated, we're now at the time we engaged. We engaged to be married. Yeah. So I told the story. And so I just opened up and I said, this is what I'm doing. I hope you guys support me. If you know anyone who's looking for dating and relationship advice, send me their page. And
was it hard to establish that credibility?
I don't think
strangers?
So.
What did the people closest to you think? What did your fiance, who would eventually be your husband, what did he think when you said, this is what I want to do?
Good question. So let me tell you that I 100% asked his permission. And I'm going to make that abundantly clear. Permission. Because the work that I do includes him. He does, you know what I'm saying? Wow. If we fail, well, there's a pivot. I got to pivot in case we fail. But if we fail, initially, that would ruin my business, right? If he's caught out on these streets with some women, ruin my business. So my business is directly related to my personal life, is directly related to my romantic life. So he has to be on board. And if there's any moment, if he said today, Allison, I don't want you to do this no more. Like, I mean, he be getting like DMs from trolls. Like, it's real. Like, this shit is real.
Saying what?
I don't want to say on here. I'll tell you on the side. Just harassing statements.
Okay.
Harassing statements. I mean, I get cursed out all the time in my comments. So it has a negative impact. I thank God he doesn't look. God he doesn't look, because if he did, he will curse them the F out. But nonetheless, it directly impacts him. So if he told me tomorrow, Allison, I don't want to do this. I don't want you to do this anymore. I would say, all right, babe, we got bills to pay. So what's the pivot? Let's talk about the pivot. And if the pivot works, then we could do it. I wouldn't, because it's a job now, right? It's my career, and I can't just quit tomorrow. But I definitely will put a plan in place. So I asked his permission. He said, yeah, let's go. Now, I'm sure at the time he didn't recognize or realize it would grow as much as it's grown and continues to grow. So asked his permission. He said, yeah. I told him, like, people are going to be in our business. I have someone DM me a picture of him. Like, yo, is this your husband? I see him in the gas station.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the people is watching. And a lot of time people are waiting for your failure, too.
I'm sure. I'm about to ask you, does that put pressure on your relationship?
Nah, I don't feel no pressure. Maybe he do. I don't know. I don't feel any pressure.
Like, he got to be buttoned up for the sake of Allison.
Yeah. He probably feels pressure. I don't. I don't function any differently in our relationship because I'm like, people watching, so now we got to pretend. Like, now I'm at the same time, I don't share every problem. I don't share everything on Instagram. I share a lot, again, because my business is directly related to my personal life, my romantic life, my family life, but I don't share it all. I've maybe a few times here or there I'll say something that he did that got on my nerves, but we have a good relationship, so there isn't much to share that's negative anyway. But asked his permission, he was down, he agreed. Like I said, I went to my group chat first. I said, hey guys, what y'all think? They said, do this. I kind of pivoted. I said, not that, but this. They said, cool, that's a great idea. I went to my close friends, like my friends' friends. They was like, oh, that's amazing. You're absolutely right, Alison. You speak with conviction. People listen to you. They take action. When you tell them to do it, they do it. This is a perfect fit for you. I spoke to my sisters. I told my sisters about it. I didn't tell my mom and my dad. They're not really, they're in their 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They West Indian. I tell them I'm St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I tell them that I'm a counselor. They don't need to understand. I just told my mom yesterday. I said, yo, Mom, you know I got like 80,000 followers. I said, I'm a big deal. I mean, even though some people feel like 80K ain't nothing. People got a mill. Yeah. But for me.
No, for real. That's why I wanted you to come here. Hopefully I can show the audience like, yo, I seen her grind up. We was in high school together. You know what I'm saying? And when I saw this relationship coach and everything you had going on, I thought it was phenomenal. What are some of the hurdles early on? You said people was cursing you out. Like, what are some of the things or some of the criticisms that you heard that were fair and some of the changes you made since when you first started?
So, not to answer your question, you said criticisms, but actually one of the kudos that I've received is that I'm very fair. So I really make an effort to fairly represent both the issues that men and women face, where women, even though I work with women, where women go wrong, the mistakes that they make is not. I like to think, and I think it's pretty fair to say that I'm not. What's the word that they use? Where
biased?
I just like
Biased?
Yeah, biased. I go with bias. But so I present both sides as fairly as possible. So that's a kudo that I received from the men who follow me. Yeah. The men who don't follow me, they'll just catch a video here or there, and if they hear me be critical of men in that one video, they think that that's representative of my entire platform. That's when I get cursed out. But to answer your question, criticisms. That's a good question. I think that's it. The criticism is people who don't follow me seeing one snippet and then making an assumption that must be my entire platform. So that's probably my biggest criticism. I've had some videos that have gone viral. Like I said, people, they go in the comments, they have their opinions. I've had to block some folks for being like really disrespectful. Normally my response is like, thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for your comment. Every comment that you share helps to push my video in the algorithm. And they normally don't respond after that because they don't realize, because they're idiots. Yeah. And this is not only them. This is anybody. If you really hate the content that somebody's producing, you think it's trash and you wish that you didn't see it anymore, do not like, do not share, do not comment. Because you're pushing the video in the algorithm, you're blowing it up. And people are getting paid. We get paid. Now it's pennies. You get paid for every click. You get paid for every view. Yeah. So keep doing that. Instead, what you should do, block them, mute them, don't comment. So when I usually say, oh, thank you so much for your feedback, every comment that you add really boosts my video in the algorithm and spreads the word. Then they get tight. They don't respond.
You started in what? You said May? Yeah. 2020?
Yep.
You got married in August, right?
I got married in August.
August that same year?
Yep.
Where? I saw y'all in a mountain somewhere. A wedding dress, tuxedo in a mountain somewhere in the middle of the pandemic.
So that's a good one. We were supposed to get married in St. Lucia.
Okay.
My parents got married in St. Lucia. I was supposed to get married. That wasn't the reason why, but my parents it was cute. So that was our plan. We had like 80-something guests that were planned to go. Obviously, that got shut down, right? So we decided that we were going to get married in Vegas, where his parents got married. So that's cute too, right? However, I didn't want, in that moment, in the summer of 2020, we still didn't know what the hell was going on. And a lot of brides and grooms, but brides, because they're the ones who run the wedding, they were pushing back the dates. And I'm like, yo, I'm not confident that this thing's ever going to clear. We were still early on in the pandemic. Yeah. We were still refrigerating bodies in outside of funeral homes, and, or not refrigerating them in U-Haul trucks in New York City, right? So I'm like, I'm not confident that this thing is ever going to lift or when it will. So I said, let's not push it back. Let's keep the same date, and we'll go to Vegas. So initially, we were going to do something like your little short white dress in a chapel with Elvis, right? Like something real like that. And I said, nah, I don't know if I'm ever going to really have a wedding, because I don't know what's going on. So I said, let's wear what we were going to wear, and we're going to go to Vegas. And instead of us going on the Strip, there's Vegas, I guess, is in the desert. Yeah. So it's like an hour out from Vegas, they have this thing. It's called Ring of Fire. That's what they call like the mountain range, because when the sun goes down, it looks really red. Like the earth is really red. So they call it Ring of Fire. I think that's the name of it. Anywho, that's where it was, hour outside of Vegas. That's where we got married.
Yo, that
with 8 guests.
dope. Like in the mountains, just you and him. What was the reception like once you shared it online? What was the feedback?
We went
from
viral.
people? Yeah,
We went viral because of the mountains. I mean, I'm cute, he cute, but it was the backdrop. It was the backdrop, especially when you weren't getting good visuals of weddings at that time. If you were getting a wedding, if people was masked up, they look ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
No shade to anybody who got married during the pandemic with your mask on, but you look ridiculous, okay?
viral. Like, what were some of the outlets that covered it?
I don't know. I have to look at
Yeah.
my phone. Just wedding stuff, wedding pages, wedding stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's on the highlights on my page at Align with Allison. It says, Allie says I drew. So I'm Allison. His name is Andrew. So
Andrew, what up?
yeah. So Allie says I drew.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. In the
Viral.
mountains.
Yeah.
You got some dust in your dress though?
Of course.
Yeah.
At the bottom. At the bottom is red and brown. His shoes were all dusty, but yeah. So
What was that like for you, that experience? You building this business, you got out of that relationship, you got your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was that time like for you? Like, yo, I'm here. What was it like?
Easy peasy chicken greasy. Like, ended that relationship. I started dating Andrew. We got engaged 2 years after we were dating. We got married a year and a half after that. He wanted to get married immediately. He didn't understand how weddings work. So we got engaged on Malcolm X's birthday, May 19th. I'm a big Malcolm X fan. I used to be a history teacher. May 19th, that's why he asked on that day. And then he's like, oh, well, we could get married on Memorial Day. I said, that's next week, bro. We can't. I need a dress. Maybe he was just excited. So I was like, no, I want to get married on the beach, and I want to get married in the summertime where all my teacher friends are off, and da-da-da. So we ended up getting married a year and 4 months later. But, have the fun time of our lives, just building and planning and executing and until COVID came and slapped us in the face and made us realize that, what our intentions are, we can't move forward with. We can't do it the way that we intended to. But I said, let's keep the date because I don't know when this thing is going to end, and it worked out in our favor. We had a small wedding, 8 guests, and our parents weren't there, so I didn't get walked down the aisle by my dad. I didn't get a first dance because he wasn't flying in the 70s,
Right.
60. I think he's 70. My mom's in the late 60s. He wasn't flying. He wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't sad about it. I was fine. It's the nature of the game. Life happens. You pivot. You pivot. You're not going to sit here crying and complaining because your wedding isn't working out the way that you want. You have the wedding that you can have. You have the marriage that you desire. That's what really matters.
Now, I see you doing some content on YouTube now.
Yeah.
What is it called? Align with Allison?
So that's my page, Align with Allison. But I have a podcast that I just started. I'm 5 episodes in. I think episode 6 is going to drop today, 2 p.m., Thursday, 2 p.m. And it's called The Single Season.
The Single Season.
Yeah.
I was going through your content. I see you answering a lot of great questions. So let's go through some here. How did you know Andrew was the one?
Yeah, that's a question I get all the time. And it's not a romantic answer, okay? So number one, what I teach and what I did for myself, this actually happened in 2012. This was before my husband, for the 4-year relationship, I was with another dude, and it wasn't working out. And I was like 25 maybe, and I was talking to my assistant principal, who's a married man, and I was complaining, and he was like, yo, Allison, what you looking for? I said, I don't know, that's a good question. He said, well, you can't complain about what you're getting if you don't even know what you want, right? So he said, figure out what you want. So I got a piece of paper, I got a pen, I took it out one of my kids' binders. I was on a prep period. I took it out of a kid's binder and a pencil. I got the picture still, 2012, and I wrote down the behaviors that I wanted in a partner. What were my requirements? What are the absolute musts? I wrote down 6 things. I kept it simple, right? Kept on that, and then I held on to that. Kept dating. I didn't really pay attention to the list. But then once I got serious, I'm like, I'm 30 years old. I want to be married. I want to have a kid. These are the things I want. I looked back at that list and I said, you know what? I need to make sure that whoever I'm dating at least seemingly has these things. Time will tell, but they seemingly have it. So I came up with a list of questions. What questions am I going to ask? What behaviors am I going to pay attention to see if the person that I'm dating is in alignment with what I said I wanted back in 2012? I feel the same way.
What was on that list?
I was about to tell you. I can't remember everything. It was 6. But one thing was attractive, hardworking, family-oriented, affectionate, must have a backbone. That was 5. I don't remember what the 6th thing was. So that was my list.
That was your, what you call non-negotiables?
My non-negotiables, right? So that's a must. So now I'm asking questions. I'm paying attention to the behaviors. Is this, well, attractive is easy. They walk in the room. Do I think that they're cute?
Right.
Cool. Everything else, hard work. And what do you do for a living? Do you enjoy your work? Do you see yourself doing something else? If you could have done something else, what would it be? What's your plan after retirement? So I'm asking all these questions around work to see if this guy's a hardworking dude. What's your shift, right? Somebody told me that, I get gigs every other weekend. I kind of play in a band, and then that ain't gonna work for me, right? I'm a rapper.
Or I travel overseas. This stuff is not gonna work for you.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's hard work, but it needs to be here. You got to hard work here, right? So I'm asking all those questions, and then so based on that, so the attractiveness is there, the attraction is there, and then you fit what I'm looking for. You want to have a family. Like, these are the things that you want in your life, not with me. That's the thing that I think pisses a lot of guys off when they watch my content in pieces. Mm-hmm. Is that like, oh, Alison, you applying mad pressure? Like, no, I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the institution of marriage? What are your thoughts about marriage? Do you think that a spiritual marriage or wedding is enough? Like, what are your thoughts around that? What are your thoughts about gender roles, and what are the roles and responsibility of a man versus a woman in a relationship? I'm asking those. I ain't asked, well, do you want to marry me
right now?
I'm asked, or ever, right? Because we just on the first date.
Right.
I don't know yet. We obviously, if we on a date, then there's attraction there, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, what are your thoughts? Like, yo, you see this content that's being made by this Kevin Samuels dude. Like, what do you think about that? Like,
hold on. So you got your list, non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And you got these questions geared around these non-negotiables, and your husband checked them off.
Yeah.
Now, a question about non-negotiables. Mm-hmm. Do you agree the relationship's about sacrifice?
I think a part, there is some sacrifice.
So how do you know your non-negotiables is not going to have you by yourself forever?
Mm-hmm. So, number one, the fact that it's a short list. Because if you let people have a list of 30, they'd have 30. You let people have a list of 50, they're going to have 50. So the fact that it's six things is, when I work with my clients, no more than 6, right? So if somebody tells me that the 6 things that I'm asking for is too much, I'm going to have some questions. Like, first of all, the list is short. And then secondly, what's on the list? Do you have what's on the list? If you have what's on a list of 6 things that you're asking for a person, you're not asking for too much. You're not asking for too much. So if you don't have it though, right? And let me clarify.
What about spades, like 5 and a possible?
Nah. 6.
It's a rough world out here, Alison.
So what? The list is short and you have it, or you can complement it. So you don't have to have it exactly, right? Because men and women, obviously there are differences between us, yin and yang. So let's say if I say I require that my partner is financially sound. Mm-hmm. I don't put a salary on it. I don't put the 6-figure number on it. I think that's ridiculous. But he's financially sound. He makes enough money to take care of himself with some extra money to save. He's able to pay his credit cards on time. He's sound. Mm-hmm. I need to be sound. And if someone comes to me and says, oh, Alison is a cold world, and you asking for too much. Well, I'm financially sound. So you telling me I'm asking for too much for somebody else to be too? Nah, that's a dub. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it needs to be that you have those things, or you can complement them, and there's 6 things, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, if someone says you're asking for too much, then they have lowered their standards, and that's their problem, not yours. Mm-hmm. You're not asking for too much. It's 6, not 12, not 15, and not, he has to be a millionaire, but I'm a bum, and I don't pay my own stuff. Why would a millionaire want to date a bum or be with a bum? And again, a millionaire might date somebody who works at McDonald's, don't get me wrong. Usually men don't have the same expectations and standards when it comes to finances, and that's cool. But I am confident that a millionaire is not going to want somebody who's going to waste their money. I'm confident that a millionaire is not going to want someone who doesn't respect money, who doesn't want to work hard for it and to hustle with them and to plan with them. You don't have to be rich, but you have to have the same mindset and desires. So that's what I mean by compliment.
Mm-hmm. The non-negotiables, you may not remember this, and this is why I rock with you, accountability. Mm-hmm. Initially, I've been doing my research, you had ambitious on it, but you changed it to hardworking.
Yep.
Because an ambitious person may not want a family.
Right.
That's that self-reflection again, man. And all your content, like that common thread of self-reflection, I think is like so very important. Just in anything in life, you know what I'm saying? If we want to get better, we got to first acknowledge where we are, you know? What else we got? Let's see. I've been looking. What else we got?
I appreciate all this homework you've done.
Dating. First off, love. Uh-huh. What is love? I remember I asked my friend one time, I said, yo, bro, what's love? He said a 4-letter word like fuck and shit. So please tell me, what is love and how important is it?
Your friend is hurting.
He just got married. Congrats.
That don't mean he's not hurting. There are lots of people who are married and hurting, and that doesn't mean that he can't show up like a solid husband for his wife.
Love is a business relationship. I mean, not love. Marriages. Love is not necessary. That's my little stance, but I pose the question to you.
Legally, yes. Legally, yes. Obviously, two people can get married and not be in love, right? Like it's an application. It doesn't require any kind of physical or mental kind of. So yes.
The older I get, the more I believe in arranged marriage. It's not important for us to be loved. Just two people that's working towards peace.
Yes, I could see that. I actually have some opinions around arranged marriages, and maybe that's why some marriages are falling apart, or marriage as an institution may be falling apart in this country. But what I will say is that I think that love is an important component, because love helps you to keep working towards that goal without giving up. So if you and I were business partners, we have a business, I don't know, we sell ice cream, we have an ice cream shop, right? We're not in love, we're friends. We decided that we were gonna open up this shop. If I piss you off enough, you're gonna say, F this shop, I'm out of here, buy me out, right? If we were in love and we had the ice cream shop and you pissed me off, I would not be inclined to just end the shop. I'm gonna say, he had a hard day, let me be patient with him. I'm not going to just end our business relationship just because he had a rough day that day and was nasty with the customers or forgot to order vanilla or whatever that is. So I think that love allows for marriages to, the business of marriage to last longer, because it allows you to give grace and understanding and patience. When you fall out of love and you're married, that's usually when the marriage ends, right? So you fall in love with somebody else, you don't feel appreciated, whatever that might look like. So I think that love is an important ingredient for marriage because it allows for its longevity.
Help me get a definition of love. Because to me, when I examine all my relationships in life, man, family, women, with my dogs, to me, love is responsibility.
No.
That's all I... Like, even when I was at odds with my mom, we didn't speak. I used to always joke, like, I don't want to talk to her, but if she needs a kidney, call me. Because that's my duty as her son. You know what I'm saying? So that's what love was to me.
It's so funny because I literally had this conversation with my own mother yesterday. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the play Fences, or if you watched the movie with Denzel,
yes,
Fences. Ma'am. One of the most famous scenes is when Troy is the character, played by Denzel. Troy's son says to him, Dad, why don't you like me? And he says to him, I ain't gotta like you. I gotta take care of you. You're my responsibility. Yeah. So I don't equate like or love necessarily with responsibility. You can feel responsible to someone and not necessarily like them, for sure not like them, and maybe not love them. That 50-50, who knows? I think that defining love is really hard. I mean, I could give you Webster's dictionary. Y'all could Google that. Y'all don't need me for that. I think it really, the definition is an expression. It's an act. I can tell you that. It's a verb. It's what you do. So you love your mother because you would sacrifice a kidney for her. You would do for her. You would show up for her. You would do whatever it takes to make sure that she's okay. Maybe not happy, but she's okay, right? So that's how you love her. That's how you would show up for her. So it's an act, and it's complicated, and I think it shows up for different people. I cannot define love for you. I can say what love looks like for me in my relationship, right? But being in love looks different for different people. And that's why you can be in a toxic relationship and be in love, and you can be in a healthy relationship and be in love, and no one can tell you that you're not in love. I would even venture to say, and this is probably not very popular, even someone who's abusive, and guys say it all the time, people who are cheating, I love my wife.
For sure.
And they'll say, I'm never going to leave my wife. I'm not leaving. I love her. Even though I'm disrespecting her, and even though I'm violating our vows, her as a human being, I still love. So I honestly, I can't answer that question for you. I'm sorry.
No, we good. 5 years and no ring. What advice do you give to the young ladies who find themselves in that predicament?
You 30 years old, 5 years, no ring, he's playing with you. You 25, 5 years, no ring is about time. You 20, 5 years, no ring, come on, we 20. You 30 years old, every man knows how women are perceived at 35 plus. It has been made abundantly clear in the last 3 years on social media. We are less desirable. We tend to get the weight gain. The breast ain't perking like how we used to perk. We're nowhere near as fertile. It's not as safe, at least according to the doctors. Geriatric pregnancies. We are not seen as desirable at 35 plus. You 30 years old, and this guy's been with you for 5 years, and he hasn't put a ring on your finger. He does not intend to. And he doesn't care about your perceived value. He doesn't care about how difficult it's going to be for you moving forward in your dating and relationship life. He wants to lock it down without locking it down. And you are a fool if you allow him to continue to do so. If you desire marriage, people gonna hop in here. I ain't talking to you if you don't desire marriage. If you don't desire marriage, you don't believe in the institution of marriage, it's the white man's paperwork. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the people who desire marriage. You've made it clear to your partner you desire marriage. You are 30 plus years old. It's been 5 years. He's not serious about marrying you.
Alison, hold on. That brother, this question really hit home for me. I've kind of been in those situations.
5 years? Over 30?
Yeah. He fighting for his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he trying to get his own act together. He out there going up against the system, against the man. Like, how can I bring somebody in before my house is in order? That doesn't mean I don't care about them. That doesn't mean I don't want what's best for them, right? Furthermore, the woman has already invested 5 years. The 6th year might be the year, the breakthrough.
And then the 7th year might be the year. And then the 8th year might be the year. And then when she can't have babies anymore, then what? Then whose fault is that, right? I liken it to... I used to take the bus to the high all the time. For those who don't know, Boys and Girls High School's the high. Ain't no other high but the high.
That's it.
Prospect Heights ain't the high, okay? So I would take the 15 bus by Brookdale Hospital.
Yeah.
And so you could see the bus, you could see the bus coming around the corner. You could see the bus kind of far all the way down.
Yeah.
So what you do, anytime you take the bus, if your legs work, you look down, you don't see the bus, you look at the schedule, the bus supposed to be here, you calculate, damn, should I walk to the next stop? Right? And then you say, I could beat the bus. If the bus come around the corner right now and make it to the next stop, you go to the next stop. Then you there. Bus not coming. You look down, I can make it to the next stop. And you keep walking, and eventually your ass is going to be home because that bus never came. I'm not standing waiting at the bus, hoping and praying that the bus shows up. I'm going to move on to the next stop. I cannot afford to sit here and wait and hope and pray. I am limited biologically, and I desire having children in wedlock. I don't have the flexibility that you have. You have the flexibility and the freedom to have children whenever you want, even though the sperm be going bad. But you can. And men, relatively speaking, are more desirable as they get older. Silver fox, you're more financially sound. In society, I am not measured that way. It's the exact opposite for me. I don't have the time to wait for you. So you're absolutely right. He's figuring it out. He's getting it together. He's fighting the man. Fight him on your own. When you have it together, let's see if I'm still available, and then we can talk. I cannot afford it. Nature, God has not allowed me the time to wait for you at 35 years old. I cannot. And then when I'm 40 with no kids, then whose fault is that? Mine. Absolutely not.
That's real.
If you desire children, I ain't talking to you because they like to tear me up in the comments. You don't desire children, or you don't desire children in wedlock, I ain't talking to you, okay? Okay.
That's a great argument. How have the women and the clients responded to that advice?
Well, seemingly well, at least, for the platform that I built, people follow me because they like what I have to say for the most part. And then the folks who don't follow me, they see my content and they yell at me in the comments, and then I thank them, and then they boost my shit. So good.
Is it important for a woman to be prepared to be alone, like in this traversing the dating scene?
I think we're all already prepared. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's preparation that's required. Mm-hmm. I think most people are prepared to be alone. I think, I shouldn't say most people. I think lots of people are prepared to be alone. Lots of people are paying their own bills. They're filling those emotional gaps. If it's with a dog or with their girlfriends turning up, they're prepared. Is it what's best for humanity or the human experience? I don't think so.
How do you make them commit?
You cannot. You knew that answer already.
I didn't. I made sure not to watch for the answers.
No, you cannot. You cannot make anybody do anything. You can't make anybody do anything. I mean, unless you literally gunshot wedding, right? That's what they call it?
Yeah. Shotgun wedding.
Shotgun wedding. That's only, and even that is still a choice. It's death or, but You know, I'm not, again, the Kanye saying slavery was a choice, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you still kind of got a choice. But no, that's the only way you can make. You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. You cannot convince. You can't sex them good enough. You can't cook good enough. There is no convincing. But your mother loves me, or I've had your children, or we bought this house, we started this business together. No one is obligated. You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. They'll do it if they want to do it, when they want to do it. And so you now have to decide a timeline that's appropriate. You have to decide, have you been clear about your desires? Because men love to say they're not mind readers, which is true, obviously. Like literally, they're not mind readers. They can read a room. Right. They also, again, can read society and know the pressures that we're under. And as a result, they can decide that this person's the right match for me and it's time, let me move forward. Or they're not the right match for me, or I'm not where I want to be in my life. But don't string that person along just because you're not where you want to be, because there's somebody else who is where they want to be. But folks, I was going to say another word, folks is selfish. They want to have their cake and eat it too, knowing that you are holding this woman back from what she desires. Even if you think that the desire is silly. Oh, legal marriage, not that big of a deal. Lots of content around that. Oh, it's spiritual. Man, you could kiss my ass. I want the piece of paper. And if you think that the piece of paper is not valuable, that's cool. You can not be married to somebody else. It's cool. You're not convincing nobody to be with you. You're not convincing nobody to marry you. I'm not convincing anybody that there's sanctity in marriage. I'm not convincing you that it's more. No. You have your belief system, and I respect it. I'm not going to live under it, though. And if that means there's a slight risk I won't have nobody, then that's a risk that somebody might have to take.
How long were you dating your husband?
Before we became engaged? Well, I met him when I was 18, and we dated briefly. He was 18, I was 19, and then he went to California to play football. He went to school, and so we both kind of knew. We didn't say, we were young. We didn't really have the words, but we kind of like, this shit ain't gonna work. So we just separated, and when he went away to school, and then we were friends on. It's funny. I just not tweeted it because it's not Twitter anymore. Right. I threaded it, I guess is the way you said it. That we were on the Facebook. This is when Facebook required you to have an email address, a college email to be on this. We were on the Facebook. We were friends, and we saw each other maybe 2 or 3 times over the last 10 years. And we reconnected. He was single, I was single. We reconnected. We started dating again. So it was 2 years in our adult life before we became engaged.
How long?
A little less than. Like,
how long did it take for you to see that the 6 non-negotiables were there?
Fast for me, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten into a committed relationship with him until I decided. Right. So I usually tell people, if you are seeing this person at least once a week and you're communicating, phone or text at least once a day, it shouldn't take you any more than 3 months. 3 months to decide that this person has what I want, so I'm going to take it to the next level, make them my girl, my man, whatever. 3 months.
3 months.
If you're seeing each other at least once a week and you're talking every single day, you should be able to say, this person, I think this person has what I want. I'm going to take it to the next level and be exclusive with them. So I can't give you a specific, like, how much time, but I know it was less than 3 months, maybe 2 months. I'm like, all right, we were together multiple times a week. So it wasn't just once a week. Multiple times a week, spending quality time, going out on dates, not going out, taking walks, getting ice cream. Like, you can make an inexpensive date still fun, right? For sure. Get Thai. Thai is $20. Lunch special.
Anywhere in the world is $20.
Right.
So once the 6 non-negotiables are there, you kind of just waiting for them to pop the question. Yeah. Is there anything you could do to expedite and make sure they know, Leo, it's time, bro? Yeah, you can. I guess expedite. I wouldn't use that word, but yes, right. Letting them know how you feel, and hopefully, as a result, they feel the same way, because you don't want a ring just because, right? Like a pity ring. I don't want a pity ring. I don't want a pacifier, right? A lot of dudes, I've seen the stories. They be giving girls rings so they get caught cheating. You know, they in trouble, so they give a girl a ring to shut her up, right? She's complaining too much. So expedite, yes, by the definition of expedite, it goes a little faster, right? But yeah, you can. You make it clear. Hey, babe, just so you know, can't wait for our wedding day. Or you would look really good in a gray suit for our wedding. Or have you thought about a beach wedding versus a church wedding? What you think about that? You know, I always wanted something real small and intimate. I know your mother's crazy. You think she wants, right? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this is the vision I have for our wedding. Our babies, our whatever, right? Yeah. When you go to weddings as a couple, oh, this wedding was so beautiful for our thing. Yeah, baby, let's make sure that we don't do this, because that shit was kind of ghetto, right? So yes, letting them know that this is what you want. That's the only way you can
expedite, letting them know that this is what you desire. And you want them to be there emotionally, if they want it too, and then they ask.
I had no idea that you guys dated when you were younger. So I guess, is it okay to revisit old relationships?
Oh, yeah.
How do you know
Spin
when?
the block.
How do you know?
Spin it. So that's excellent. People ask me that question a lot, and I know a lot of folks, I'm never spinning the block. So we got to talk about spinning the block and what that looks like. So for those who don't know, spinning the block is an expression that's used to describe whether or not you should give an ex a second chance to date them again. You're spinning the block. You're going back around. Now, it's something you should consider if the reason why you broke up has been rectified. So has there been a resolution? So you mentioned, Will, that there were circumstances in your past where, you would have liked to take the next step, but you maybe weren't where you wanted to be in terms of your career or your health or your whatever the reason is, right? Has that been fixed? So if you were saying, damn, I would marry this girl, but I don't like where I'm in my career right now, Let's say y'all separate, y'all break up. No, nothing crazy, no abuse, no cheating, nothing crazy. 3 years later, you where you want to be in your career, she's available, you're available, why not, right? In my particular circumstance, the reason why we separated is because he went across the country to play football. College is over. He came back. So that is rectified. Somebody separates because maybe someone's going into the military. They say, I don't know about this long distance thing. Let's take a break. They finish out their bid. They come back home. Rectified. Whatever. If the situation has been fixed, if whatever the cause the breakup can be fixed, has been fixed, fix it. If it's not fixable, right? If it's something that's outrageous, somebody had a baby on you, cheated on you, wild crazy, stole from you, hit you, stuff that there ain't no fixing that, then ain't no fixing it. So that's my take on spinning the block. If it can be rectified, it can be fixed, we can correct it, consider it. There's clearly attraction before, there was clearly a connection before. If you could fix it, fix it. These streets are crazy, man. If I don't got to start all over again, I won't. Again, within reason.
I'm with you. You know what you want, you after it.
That's it. And it's reasonable. The things I'm looking for are reasonable. That's what we have to go back to. Like, do you have what you're looking for? Can you complement it? But if you're talking about, I want this chick who's super fit and you're super fat. If you're talking about, I want a dude who makes all this money and you can't even pay your rent on a month-to-month basis, you always about to get kicked out, right? Like, we got to be reasonable here. If what you're asking for is reasonable, it's in alignment with who you are and what you have and what you've accomplished and your goals and your values, then I don't think ain't no shame in asking for that stuff. And I don't think you're asking for too much. Absolutely not. As evidenced by my clients who be getting married left, right, and center. You see the testimonials on my Instagram.
I've seen the testimonials. What was your first success story?
Oh, that's a good question. All right, so success story, let's define that.
Go for it.
Because different people that join my coaching program may have different goals. I have some clients who their goal is to just have fun on dates again. They're tired of feeling like it's a job interview or they're not getting any dates at all. They don't know what the disconnect is. Men are approaching them. They're not going on dates, especially like if they're older, they're divorcees. They just want to have fun. So engaging with gentlemen, going out, having fun. If that's their goal, then that's a success for them. My overall, I like rings. I like to call them rings and things. Like, I like rings, right? So that's like my height of what I find successful. But before you can get to an engagement, you have to be in a happy, committed relationship. So that's the success for me, right? For a lot of my clients, they want to be in a happy, committed relationship. Then they want that relationship to lead to marriage. The first one, that's hard. I want to say my first wedding was like December 2021.
Okay.
I want to say that was my first wedding. So that's like the first thing that I'm thinking about that really stands out. But I've had over 150 of my clients are in committed relationships, engaged or married.
Did you ever doubt your abilities?
No.
Why not?
I'm an overly confident person. They talk about body dysmorphia. Those are people. Oh, all right. So that's a mental illness. It's an illness where people look in the mirror and they see a different figure, a different body than what is in reality. So that leads to people to like do what do you call it? Goodness, like they throw up, like they they have eating disorders, right? So that's body dysmorphia. You see something that's not there, usually a bad thing, and then you do bad things to try to correct it. I have the opposite of that. I am overly confident. I believe I can do anything. Where I got this confidence from, I haven't tracked it exactly. I can tell you it's not from my mean-ass West Indian parents. I can tell you that because they won't congratulate you for anything. They won't give you kudos for nothing. Right. I had a conversation on another pod, and I think it came from, I had a 5th grade teacher, Miss Feaster, and she said to me, I think this is where it began. I got compliments throughout my schooling, but she said to me, it was like spring break. Remember we used to get those packets?
Yeah.
And you had to do the packets during the break.
Yeah.
And she was putting all the packets in manila envelopes. So she said to me, Allison, can you go to the office, get this copy, get that? She was empowering me, making me feel mad special. Yeah. And then she said, she gave me a pen and she gave me a class list. And she said, I want you to write down the names of every kid on each envelope because you have a teacher's handwriting. So I want you to do it. So I started feeling good about myself. I'm like, oh, I have a teacher's handwriting. Well, maybe that means I could be a teacher. Right. I became a fucking teacher. You did. Right. Like if you tell me I could do it and you tell me that I'm good at it, then I am good at it. I think that's where it began. Like people started sowing seeds of, Allison, you're smart. Allison, you're pretty. Allison, like, so I'm starting to believe this shit. And as a result, like I'm overly confident. And I know some people might think that's problematic, but I would much rather be overly confident than not, right? Because people are going to chip at you and make you feel like you're not valuable every single day. So I need to be overly confident. So at the end of the day, I'm just aight, especially when you're on social media. Yeah. People call me fat. People call me ugly. Some dude told me that I look like a broke-ass Alexis Sky. I'm attacks on attacks on attacks. Yeah. So I have to start up here so that by the end of the day, I end up being like average confidence. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it started with school and teachers just pouring into me and telling me how great I am, how smart I am, how pretty I am, and da-da-da-da-da. And then from there, like, I'm telling you, if I wanted to be a doctor, if I said, yo, I'm putting this down, I'm going to medical school, I'm going to be a doctor, bro. That's probably the only thing, I'm not really that great in science. I probably couldn't be a rocket scientist.
What positions did you hold as far as teaching?
So my undergrad degree is in social studies 7 through 12. So I taught 7th grade social studies, 8th grade, which is my favorite, 8th grade social studies. I taught 9th grade social studies. And then I had to like kind of...
Any schools I know? Where?
So I started in a private school in the Bronx that you wouldn't know about. That was in 2008. And then I went to a Park Slope school. It was a K-12, K-8 school in Park Slope, and then Brooklyn. And then I went to Erasmus. But I didn't teach in Erasmus. By the time I got to Erasmus, I had my master's degree in counseling. So I went in as a school counselor. Okay. But as a school counselor, you still teach a couple classes here and there.
And you did undergraduate and graduate at Brooklyn?
No, undergrad was at Brooklyn. I couldn't get back into Brooklyn for grad school. I had a 2.8 GPA, and they require at least a 3.0. So I was a fool. Let me tell you how much of a fool I was. They said, you could come back, but you're going to have to do a semester unmatriculated, which means you don't get any credits for it. You pay, and you had to prove to us that you're smart enough for you to continue. I said, nah, fuck that. I ain't proved nothing to y'all. So I paid for private school. Dumb. So I went to the College of New Rochelle. I should have taken the L and did the semester, but I was full of myself. Again, being overconfident sometimes bites you in the ass. I ain't got to prove none of y'all. I'm smart. So 4.0 GPA, though.
There you go.
Right? So what's his name? Biden, he forgave my loans.
There you go. Boom.
It ended up working out. But in the moment, that was a dumb decision. So, so undergrad was Brooklyn College. Grad school was the College of New Rochelle. And then I did another master's in mental health counseling at Alfred University.
What was your time like in Boys and Girls High School? Because I often reflect on our time there. I'm a year ahead of you. We had a revolutionary principal and Dr. Frank Mickens. There's a whole cast of characters in that building. And I try to reflect on what impact that building had on me. What was your time like in the high? And I guess what impact did it have on you?
I'm glad that you asked that question. Because just now I said about people pouring into you. I was a smart kid. I did well in school. How I ended up at the high, I have no idea. Actually, I do know, but we ain't got time to get into it. Now that I'm a counselor, I know exactly how I ended up, and it was some fuck shit. But nonetheless, I'm so thankful. If I ended up at Brooklyn Tech where I belonged, quote unquote, I would have been in a sea of average students. But because I went to the high and I was a smart kid, they poured into me like nobody's business. It did not stop of, Allison, you could do this. Allison, you're amazing. Allison, you're so smart. Frank Mickens, our principal, at the time, God bless the dead, he knew my name. Yeah. And that's rare. There were 4,500 kids when I went to the high, right? And you normally know the bad kids. All the administrators know the bad kids. Yeah. Nobody know the good kids. Nobody know the honor kids, the corny kids, right? Yeah. Knew my name. Alison on the cheerleading team knew my name, right? And so that made me feel empowered. It made me feel special. I'm telling you, it was the school system. It's not my parents. The school system that really, of course they afforded me the opportunity, but you know what I'm talking about in terms of like really pouring into children to make them feel valuable. It was boys and girls. I love my experience today. There's no other school that could have replicated the culture that they created. It was cool to be smart. It was cool to do well. Mm-hmm. You can't, in the hood, you can't replicate that. It's cool to be smart. Like, you got a cut schedule. You got in a fight. Oh, you dumb. Like, you're a bum. Like, you not graduating on time. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like it's frowned upon. You don't even want to be around those ruffians. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that culture cannot be replicated. And I thank God that I ended up at Boys and Girls High School.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I reflect on it so often. Like, you talk about the culture. Every time a report card came out, they would have like an award ceremony.
Yep.
You know, encouraging kids to keep going. They didn't tolerate any bad behavior. Nope. Like, it was in the middle of the hood. It was a place that just invigorated you, man. Yep. Made you feel special. And I got a great sense of community from being in that building. As I mentioned earlier, like, there were no strangers. We all sobered up, saluted. And I think you doing like service to people. You changing people's lives, man. You helping put families together.
Yeah.
That can't be understated, you know, and I sit back with great pride watching my friend get busy. You know what I'm saying? You started talking about the business aspect. Of course, transactions have to take place. We got to earn money, but you saving lives, man. So I salute you for that. What about your cheerleading career? I know you were in a step team at the high. Said that you worked as a coach at Brooklyn College. Did you cheer Brooklyn?
Yeah. I was a cheerleader there. I was the captain for 3 out of 4 years. And then the coach, Tanika Simmons, she came from Colorado. She came to do her master's at Brooklyn College, and she saw there was no cheer program. So she said, I want to, I think she was 24 at the time. She said, I want to coach, right? That's a big deal. Right. You're 24 years old, starting and creating an entire program that ended up being a powerhouse, big right, time. In terms of competing in CUNY, the City University of New York. So she started the program. She was my coach. And she was getting tired. She was like, I'm grown now. I finished my program. I'm working. I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm like, nah, we can't put it down. Like, we got to keep it going. We got to keep this going. I think at the time you might have won like 4 or 5 championships. I think we ended up winning 10 at the end by the time we all retired. But I said, I'll come on with you. I'll be your co-coach. You know what I'm saying? Your assistant coach, and I'm going to help you so that it can kind of alleviate some of the pressures that you have going on. And that way, we can't put this down. Like, we're winners. What you mean? We can't let this go. And we had like active rivalries with other teams that were winning before we came in, and we crushed it, right? Like, Baruch had the team of all teams. They were done once we came in the building. CSI, they tried to establish themselves. Good luck, Chuck. They beat us one time, year 7, but that wasn't a fair win. Anyway, there was some calculations that wasn't calculating on them score sheets, but nonetheless, so that's how I continued. So I cheered at Boys and Girls. I cheered at Brooklyn College, and then I was the assistant coach to the head coach, Tanika Simmons, for a couple of years there. And then what we realized, what was one of the struggles, is that cheerleading is not popular in New York City. And so we would have these athletes who are coming in at 18 years old, 17, 18, 19, who's never cheered a day in their life. And we have to build them up and integrate them into an existing team to teach them skills that if we were in another state, they would have learned when they were 5 years old. You learn a cartwheel at 18 and 150 pounds. Like, that's scary stuff. When you're 5, you don't know the difference. You just flip everywhere. So we was like, you know what? If we really want to have an impact in cheerleading in New York City, we need to take steps back. We're not correcting the problem of it not being popular if we're starting with folks who are 18. What we need to do, we need to start a program for younger kids age 5 and up so that they're feeding into the high schools and they're feeding into the colleges already having the skill if we really want to uplift the activity, because it's not a sport by definition, but we want to uplift the activity of cheerleading in New York. So that's what we did. So we started our own program. It's called Iconic Cheer Elite. We're an all-star cheer program. All-star sounds special. All that means is that it's independent from the school. It's not related to a school, and it's not...
Still?
Yeah.
Y'all still with it?
Yeah. Yeah, COVID was tough. It cut down our numbers significantly. We lost about 2/3 of our program.
What impact did watching this program be built from the ground up, winning all these championships? What impact did that have on Alison, the relationship coach?
That's a good question. I actually don't think there's a direct correlation. I think it goes to feed the ego. It just goes with the ego of when I put my hand on something and I want it to win, it's gonna win. But then, like I said, you need this in your life. Yeah. You need in your life. If you don't believe you can, you never will. Right? I say this all the time to if you believe that all dudes ain't ish, you're absolutely right, because that's going to be your experience. That's the lens you're looking through, and that's who you're going to attract. If you start to change your mindset around, there are some good men, and they're a good fit for me. There are some good men who aren't a good fit. There are bad men, and all of them ain't a good fit for me. I don't want no bad men around me. You change. So I think that it just goes to feed the ego of whatever I put my hands on, if I work hard enough, I will succeed on it. So I'm going to continue to push through and do the same thing with my business. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It's hard.
How challenging is it for women who have been hurt to pick themselves up and kind of do it again in a new relationship and date again? Because sometimes they come into a new relationship guarded, defensive. And I'm like, yo, sis, like, I ain't do nothing to you. Like, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? And even as I date and get more older, I try to be compassionate about that. But it can be draining for me.
I'll say this. There's a gentleman that I follow. He's in the relationship space. And he says, I don't care. I don't care who hurt your feelings. I don't care who broke your heart. I don't care who did whatever. I didn't do it, and I don't care. And I know that sounds very harsh, but what we have to remember, especially women, because women love to say this line about, you know, if you want me at my best, you got to take me at my worst. He don't know you. You are a stranger. No one has to accept your bullshit as a stranger. Yeah. We're in love, then it's okay. I give you a little grace. I'll be understanding. But I don't have to understand your heartbreak. You're a stranger. Yeah. Just like I don't care if a dude is heartbroken and emotionally unavailable. I don't know you. I don't care why. All I know is that you're not, and so you're not an appropriate match for me where I am right now. I don't care why you're broke. You could be broke for an amazing reason. It can be like heroic. You are broke because you paid $300,000 out of pocket for your mom to have surgery. Yeah. And that's why you're homeless living in a car right now. That's admirable. You're a stranger. I don't care. All I know is that you're broke right now. Yeah. And if you come up later on and you want to give me a chance because maybe you pissed because I didn't give you a chance when you was broke, cool. If not, I understand and respect that. I agree with you. Shorty, I ain't do that to you. Yeah. It's not my responsibility to fix you. I don't know you, right? If we're together, then I could try to help you work out your demons and your fears and your concerns. Other than that, it's not your responsibility to fix people or to explain away or No, it's not. It's their responsibility. Their pain, their hurt, their injury is their responsibility. You have therapy, you have coaches, you have God. You need to figure it out. You need to fix yourself so that you're showing up as the best version of you so that when they meet a gentleman, they're showing up whole. It's not 50-50. It's 100-100. You're showing up whole. It's not your job. Don't let nobody, oh, well, I was hurt before. Okay, so go to therapy and work that out.
Boom. I'm with it.
You're a stranger. It's not my job to care. The gentleman that I'm talking about, what's his name? I think his name is SD. He said the same thing. He said if a man was super feminine, right? Heterosexual man, super feminine. And he explained, oh, I grew up with my mom and my sisters and my aunt. You don't care. Nope. All you know is that your friend's going to clown you if you got a boyfriend who's, right? Yes. The explanation may be reasonable, logical, fair, understanding. I don't care or understand right now because I don't know you. I don't have to care.
Gotcha.
Fair is fair.
Fair is fair. I don't care. I'm with it.
But I will say, though, make sure that you or anyone who's saying I don't care, don't be a part of the problem, though, right? Like, we're not going to add to the problem. We're not going to, hurt other women so that it becomes a cycle of we all hurt. Nah. And so now we all, right? But other than that, that's not your responsibility for anybody.
How soon should a woman expect monogamy? Because like you go on a first date and shorty looking over at your phone like, yo, I don't. So what if I got somebody else here? Like, yo, you got to compete. You got to present yourself. It's competition outside.
I'm glad you asked that question because let me tell you, based on my experience, which everyone's experience is limited, my limited experience, that is not an issue.
Really?
For women. That is an issue for men. That's the post I got cursed out on.
Nah.
I will show you viral. I got cursed. That's the worst post when I said women should be dating more than one man at a time. That does not mean having sex with them, to assess who's the best fit. And then once both parties decide that they want to commit, which I said before, within 3 months, then you cut everybody else off. That's a problem. I'm not competing with nobody. I'm not taking you out and spending money when you going out with other niggas. They cursed me out, clean out.
Wow.
So that I have not, and again, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have experienced it the exact opposite, where the guys are saying, I'm not competing, and I'm not paying to take you out and you going out with somebody else the next day, and I'm not paying to go out and then you calling some other dude that night.
Wow.
That's ironic. But what I will say to answer the general question is, you're absolutely right. No one should be requiring exclusivity immediately. I say, again, talking every day, communicating every day, within reason, right? If you work a 9 to 5, regular kind of job kind of thing. There's flexibilities if folks work overnight, you different shifts, whatever. Communicating every day, though, because you can send a text message no matter what. Yeah. Don't tell me you can't.
Nah.
Yes, you can.
Nah.
What job? You an astronaut?
My brain, I need to unplug, Alison. No. Let's talk. No, I don't have to text every day.
Or call?
No.
Okay.
Yo, I'll see you on Saturday. We going out. Boom. It's Monday. I don't need to speak to you until Saturday. And there shouldn't be an assumption I'm doing X, Y, Z. Yo, bro, I got the podcast. I got an event. Like, yo, I'm thinking.
You cannot say hello?
Are
you not a tech person in general?
Do
you not text somebody?
I'm only a text person. Right?
Okay. So then why you can't text her? If you texting them.
Because it's going into a thread. Like, yo, bro, I just need to unplug. Is it okay to unplug?
You're not unplugging. You just told me you text every day. You're not unplugging. You're unplugging from her.
Okay. The relationship, I'll see you on Saturday.
Nah.
Monday's work day. Tuesday, I'm going to the gym. Wednesday.
Unacceptable. If you're texting other people, then you could text me too.
Today's business. Like, when do I think of podcasts? Like you said, I didn't know you do all this research. When do I do this? I need time for this.
A text message takes 30 seconds. You was on the toilet today.
So I could say hello and leave it and never. You're going to ask me a question that you're going to want to respond to. No. Can I say hello and just dip?
I'm not going to say hello, period. It's going to say, not hey girl, sorry, that's my friend. Hey love, hey whatever, like whatever term is appropriate. Hope all is well, just checking in on you, making sure everything's all right. I got a busy day, but I'll see you on Saturday. You could wrap it up. You don't have to make it a conversation. You need to check in. And that would take you at the red light. You drove here. Me and you live in the same. It took me 40 minutes to get to the studio. You had multiple red light opportunities to send a text message. Hey, just checking in, real busy today. Got the pod, just checking in, making sure all is well. Make sure you eat something.
Okay.
Something.
That should be treated as a bonus, not something that is mandatory.
How you going to get to know her if you're not speaking to her?
I had our date on Saturday.
So that means y'all only speaking once a week on the date? And that's expensive for you.
No, right now, maybe I should be able to say, I got to lock in this week. I'm writing a book. I got to lock in.
Okay, a major project is, I agree with that. An exam, like a major project, a book, yeah, major project. I'm talking about everyday Joes.
Yeah.
Everyday Joes don't have a full-time job and the pod and this and coaching, and everyday Joes work 9 to 5 and play the game for mad hours with their friends. You can send a text message.
All right, everyday Joes can send a text. I got you. Ebony K. Williams. Mm-hmm. She was asked would she date a bus driver. She said if he owns the bus. Mm-hmm. How you feel about that? So,
I think that both sexes, men and women, constantly clown each other for their preferences, and it's ridiculous. Mm. I feel like the same guys who are saying, oh my God, that's terrible, your standards are too high, that's ridiculous, are the same ones, if you asked them what their preferences or standards were, they would say the feminine, fit, and whatever, right? So if she can have a preference of, I would not date a guy who drives a bus, I would only want to date entrepreneurs, with what she's saying, right? Mm-hmm. The owner of the bus. Why can't she have that same preference? Just like a guy would have a preference that says, I want a woman who's fit. I want a woman who's feminine. I want a woman who doesn't have kids. I want a woman, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone has their preferences. I don't think there's anything wrong with her having hers, especially, remember what I said in the beginning, if you can match it. She's a millionaire. She's a public figure. it's not outrageous that she would want someone who's relatively in her circle, who's, and for lack of a better term, on her level or making her kind of money. That's not outrageous. Just like a gentleman has his standards. And I'm going to circle back. The same women who defended Ebony K. Williams, that's outrageous. She's a public figure. She's a millionaire. She should have her right. Will then also attack the guys when they say, I want a woman who. It's ridiculous. Both parties are outrageous and ridiculous. You can have your preferences. My only request is that you don't down other people for your preference. So I might say, if I'm Ebony, she says, I don't want the bus driver, I want the owner of the bus. If she went along and said, because bus drivers are broke, and that's where, leave it. You said, someone asked her, number one, a lot of the problems that people create in contact, nobody fucking asked you. Yeah. Ayanla Van Zant asked her what her preference was. She answered the question without dogging the bus drivers. Now, she then went on and did a whole spiel that I think she's absolutely, I don't think she's being genuine with the spiel that she explained thereafter. I think she has a preference, and she should have went 10 toes down and said, this is my preference, and y'all not going to try to pressure me and bully me into something else. I'm not really sure about that. I think she's very eloquent. I like what she said, but I think she wants what she wants. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like gentlemen want what they want. Just don't say, I want a girl who's fit because fat girls are sloppy. And... Right. Bro, you want a fit girl? That's fine. Leave it there. Plus, nobody asked you. But that's another story for another day. I don't have any problem with her saying that. None whatsoever.
Hold on. I got a few things with that. Help me with this. Finances is a big thing. And you talked about a lot of women, I need a 6-figure guy. And that may not be realistic in today's day and age. I think sometimes, especially men of color, they're a little bit sensitive when it comes to the finances because they don't have it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't a rapper or a ball player, like a lot of guys are feeling like less than. So I feel like that's kind of where the backlash came from.
Yes.
So, again, I just got a whole bunch of thoughts. So I guess the black men are looking for the women to assist and not continue to clown them. You know what I'm saying? What do you say about that? Should a woman like help?
I think that a woman should have a financial standard for her partner, which should be close, at minimum, close to where she is.
What about helping to build up a brother? If black women say, if they know that there's challenges out there for people of color,
yes,
especially a man,
yes,
right? More women are more likely to get hired in a position than a black man would, because he's a threat to the establishment. You with me on that?
I'll go with you if you say so.
So where is the woman that is going to assist and build up a man?
I think the problem is that there's been so many instances of women who have built up men, and what men will do sometimes, some men, is that they will take that build up and then level up their woman and get a next woman, right? So it's like, well, why am I sacrificing the lifestyle that I desire with a partner that's more desirable, right? If you're more financially sound, you're more desirable to build somebody up who's going to leave me. What Kanye said, and when he get on, he leave your ass for a white girl. This is an understood thread in society. Men date who they have access to in that moment. And when they have a higher level of access, make more money, more established, more swag, whatever it might look like that makes them level up, they tend to want to level up. Look at first baby mothers. That's the joke is always the first baby mother is ugly, right? Damn, the first baby mom is ugly. There's always a level up.
I ain't hear that one.
Right? You never heard that before? You ever see Dirk baby moms?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's it's a joke. Like the first, don't judge me on my first baby moms, right? It's and then usually you get older, you're more established, and then so you can demand another level of woman. So I say all that to say, and women generally don't usually do that. Like they're not going to do better in their career and then leave their husband for a better husband. They might leave their husband because there's conflict over money, because like as you said, I ain't say, he said, that men, black men particularly, are sometimes sensitive about income because they know that they don't compare to their other counterparts. Right. So when their woman starts out earning them, then they sensitive and they start, oh, you big money, you got the money, and all that kind of slick shit. So then it's conflict. You won't see women usually divorcing a man to marry another man who's doing better than them.
Okay.
that's doing better than their ex. You will see men blatantly leave their woman, their bottom, they call them a bottom B, right? They will blatantly leave that woman for someone else. So why would I sacrifice my lifestyle, pour into you, build you, when there is at least, I don't know, I don't say a chance, but there are rumors, people say that that's what dudes will do. They will.
Is Ebony K. Williams married? I don't think so.
I don't think so. She
Does
might
she
be
have children?
engaged. I don't think so. She might be engaged. I'm not sure.
Like,
I know they were saying something about her being engaged to a white man at some point.
I'm sure. Oh,
At least.
I'm glad you brought up Malcolm X. Betty Shabazz, Coretta Scott King, Rachel Robinson, who was Jackie Robinson's wife. These women supported their men a great deal. I think the black man feels like that woman, that type of woman isn't around anymore. You know, you got this independent
I don't
woman.
know if we should be.
Why not? The black family is suffering.
You know about MLK playing in Coretta's face, right? So why should anyone allow someone to play them and they just sit back and take it because that's what a good woman is supposed to do, right? As far as I know, and again, me being a big fan of Malcolm X, as far as I know, he didn't cheat on his wife. And I'm not sure about Jackie Robinson and their interactions.
But Malcolm gave his life to the struggle. He wasn't probably the father that he probably could have been.
Right, and probably wasn't the husband that he could have been.
And
as
she
a result.
held it down.
Right.
She held it down.
But should she have, is what we're asking.
Why not?
Because
for the sake of humanity, for her family.
Did they know that in the moment? Like, this is, we're looking back by 50, 60 years. Did they know in the moment that him sacrificing, him being a present father and husband was going to make the shift the cultures?
Yes. He was building a nation. They saw it in real time.
We don't know that. We wasn't there. So the sacrifices she's doing in this moment, we don't even, of course, if we retrospectively can say, well, if I knew what I knew now and I was Coretta, I would definitely take the L for the legacy of Martin Luther King. That's more important than me and my feelings. In that moment, she's a wife and she's getting played. In that moment, you're missing out on your husband and your father being, your husband and the father to your children being present. The desire to have a traditional wife is not in the best interest of women. It's not. And let me tell you why. In this day and age, we live in a capitalistic society. We have inflation through the wazoo. It is reasonable for both parties to work and contribute to the household. Okay. That is reasonable.
Not a problem.
It is not, and I would say in many cases, not all, I'm sure there are plenty of men who are able to provide on their own without being stressed the hell out, I'm sure. But relatively speaking, you live in New York City especially, it is reasonable that both parties are contributing financially. Potentially even 50-50. Plenty of people contribute 50-50 to the bills, men and women. But yet, there has not been a very clear statement about the split of responsibility in the household. So logically, why would it make sense for me to contribute 50% of the finances to the household? However, I'm doing 100% of the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, that's not even that hard.
Right.
Relatively, I had to cook for myself. I had to clean for myself. It would be half of the cleaning, but I'd have to clean for myself. I'd have to do laundry. It'd be half of the laundry. When you talk about children and child rearing, and I'm doing 100%, that's unreasonable. Where is the drive from the gentleman to say, I want a traditional wife, as a result, I'm gonna be a traditional husband and find the money to be a traditional husband? No, there's no talk about that. It's, well, the black man, you said, the black man doesn't have the same opportunities and we don't make, we're sensitive about the income. So what's wrong with building up? Traditional women did not build up. And they did not contribute financially.
They sacrificed a great deal.
Their build-up
Malcolm was a wealthy man.
He wasn't, but they were living off of the nation.
Right.
Nation Islam, that's their house, everything. So the build-up is, I'm going to take care of the house while you go make the money. Back in the days, there wasn't a significant contribution. And I'm talking about across the country. This is not only a black thing. There wasn't a significant contribution of women financially because women many times were blocked from being able to work. We couldn't have bank accounts, we couldn't own property, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the traditional values that men talk about that they desire in a partner right now is due to women being, is the word suppressed? Like, it's because we didn't have the opportunity. It's not because the grandma stayed in their marriages because they could not work. Grandma stayed in those marriages because she couldn't own property. Grandma stayed in those marriages because she couldn't have a bank account. It's not because she loved granddad who was cheating and carrying on and making a scene across town. She didn't have many choices. So there is a romanticizing of the good old days.
But Alice, hold on. You said you don't believe those traditional values are good for women.
Not in whole. Some things are valuable. Of course, some things are valuable, but not in whole.
But the status of specifically the black family is like in shambles. Mm-hmm. And I think there's this myth of the independent woman. Like if an independent woman is getting it, for us to really get to where we need to be, like it's going to take some of those women to invest in a man.
Mm-hmm. Why? If she's able to do,
because
and
I know
she's
too
able
many
to have extra to pour into the man, why he can't do it on his own?
That's why you're in business. I know too many sisters that's getting to childbearing age. They're losing the ability to bear child. They're independent by themselves. That's a family lost. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But why is she to blame exclusively?
No, nobody's blaming her.
No, you said she's independent. Okay.
She got the finances.
Right. She got the finances. So she figured out the finances, right? And now it's to a point where she's getting to where she can't have children, whatever. She's getting older. Right. And now it's the loss of the family. That means you were saying because of her actions, there is no family. His actions too.
Oh, how so?
Because if in this particular, I mean, we're creating a whole example that doesn't exist, right? But if we're talking about a gentleman who isn't financially established, he's still trying to make a way, he's still trying to figure it out, then he is saying, like you mentioned, about not wanting to take the next step because they're not where they want to be yet. Right? So that means that he's not creating the family as well.
He may want to take the next step, but he just can't get a date because he's a bus driver.
There's plenty of women who, and if Ebony K. Williams won't date the bus driver, I would date the bus driver. In New York City, you know how much the bus driver makes?
They make it.
That's, and again.
But he has shift work. He can't be home for Christmas.
Okay, he's okay. One Christmas is all right. And then he's going to make sure that he puts in for the next Christmas. Or he's going to call out because now he has seniority. He'll be all right.
But in all seriousness, I'm messing around. But I think, and we don't have to stay here. I think the system elevates black women or,
may afford us more opportunities.
Yes,
perhaps. Okay.
Yes. And the black family is suffering from that. That's why these black women, they got to go get a rapper, a basketball player, and if they can't get one of those, they go get a white man. Serena Williams and stuff like.
Those are celebrities. That's not indicative of the millions of black women who date and marry the millions of regular black men. I'm a regular black woman and I married a regular black man. He's in construction. And by the way, there are plenty.
He get to that bag though. My man will get that bag.
He's in construction, right? So I think some of those traditional values we need to get back to, working with our hands, getting into a trade.
You guys have businesses outside of, right?
It's very small, like pocket money, a joke. Nothing that's gonna really. Okay. I mean, we pivoted. We on number 3 now. We still working it out. It ain't formulating like it's supposed to. But
I take that as you building with it.
Okay, I guess building. So maybe you know what? Maybe we need to get clear as a society what we mean by building with. When generally speaking, when women hear that, what we are thinking is that you're talking about like a damn near homeless, barely employed, underemployed. I'll give you an example. I have a friend, master's degree, guidance counselor, making over $100,000, and she was dating the manager of Wendy's. Okay. No passport, no driver's license, still lives at home with his mom in the projects. That's what I'm thinking. And I think maybe that's the disconnect. We're using language willy-nilly.
You could build with that too, though.
Nah.
Come on.
No driver's license. Like, come on, you playing. You don't need a woman to empower you to get a driver's license or a passport.
You might. I just finished.
That's too much work for me.
I just finished Jackie Robinson's autobiography. He gives so much credit to his wife. When he was on that field, they just call him nigga, you ain't shit. Coming home to his black woman recharged him. It can make you feel like you can fly if you got the right one.
But come on, you could get a drive. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to do something on your own. Help is not due.
Brother seeing them getting their life snuffed out, George Floyd, on social media. I'm not even joking. This is a lot. It's a lot for a brother. So that's
stopping somebody from getting a driver's license.
Brothers is incarcerated. You never know what somebody needs.
This is outrageous. And can I tell you, she helped him with the driver's license. She helped him with the passport. Okay. She when she met him, she was working on purchasing a house, so she completed the transaction. She purchased the house. She invited him to move in. I don't know how they split the bills. They worked it out, right. And he cheated on her. And got an STD. And that's not normal stories. I'm just saying when we talk about build up, I think that's what do we mean by that? Because we're thinking about absolute bums. We're not talking about somebody who has some drive, is doing okay, and could just need a little boost. I'm talking about absolute bums.
Even drive is a privilege, is what I'm saying.
I think you're born with it.
A lot of people, there's not many images of us that is motivating or inspiring. Even having drive. We talked about the high school we went to. Mm-hmm. That did a lot for us. So somebody may need all of that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You say it's not a lot of images of like successful or happy or fulfilled Black people. I don't agree. Or I think that maybe we just need one.
Who?
My 5th grade teacher, Miss Feaster, who's
right. That's what I'm saying.
Teacher's handwriting.
The Wendy's guy may have never gotten that. So sis, you got to be all of that. It's unfair. You got to be all of that. But the payoff could be great.
Could be. But we talked about earlier about mitigating risk, right? That's not a bet that I would put. Okay. I just wouldn't for where I am in my life right now, right? Maybe if I was in a different place, I think maybe what the argument that gentleman could have is that you a bum too, like the chick, right? You a bum too, like we both bums together. Let's work it out. But to be upset that someone who has achieved a lot, whatever a lot might look like, it might be degree, it might be money, it might whatever that a lot might look like for them, success, however you might define it, and then you mad because we just talked about I don't have to be understanding to a stranger. I ain't gotta love you. I ain't gotta you've been through shorty. I didn't do that to you, so why should she be understanding to a stranger? I was able to achieve all these things. There are other Black men who have been able to. It's not like there are no Black men who are doing well for themselves. Why are you 35 years old, a manager of Wendy's?
It's an investment. And is it true that there are more Black women out there than Black men?
Like statistically, the actual number?
Yeah.
I don't know it, but I'm sure due to incarceration or perhaps.
So sis, it behooves you to find you one and build up.
Or, and this is not in alignment with my business, or maybe they could just be okay by themselves.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are starting to make that choice.
Yeah.
And which I think is ridiculous. I think, like I said, I don't think that's the nature of humanity to be alone. And I think there are some areas you can be slightly flexible. Like I said, I don't align with the $100,000 thing, the 6-figure thing. I don't align with that. Especially depending on where you live. You Alabama, you need to make $600. Come on, like you good with $60K. Yeah. Come on. But are you driven? Do you desire more? Do you want to establish generational wealth? If that's, what I desire, are we in alignment? Are you a hardworking person? Then we could figure everything else out. But you can't tell me 35 years old, you ain't got no passport, you ain't got no driver's license, you live at home with your mom in the projects, and then try to shame me for not wanting to. Bugging.
How do you make yourself less intimidating for a woman? Since on the heels of this conversation that we just had, you're a beautiful woman, you educated, you got bread. Some guys may be intimidated. How does a woman make herself less intimidating? So
2 things. Number 1, I want to be with someone who isn't easily intimidated, right? So someone who appreciates my approach, right? My tone. And we're talking as friends. I would not talk like this if I was on a date. I would soften it. And how would I soften it, right? So first of all, it's very important that you're not leading with your accolades, right? So I'm not, hi, my name is Alison. I have a master's degree and I have this business that's making all this money. And how are you and what do you have? And let me see your watch, right? So you're not leading with that. You should be leading with who you are as a person and not what you have accomplished. Now, it doesn't mean that you're dimming your light. If they ask, well, where did you go to school? You said you did your bachelor, right? You asked, okay, well, actually, I did my bachelor's degree at Brooklyn College. And all right, I'm telling you the story. You're not leading with that. But I do want to make sure that it's clear. I also don't want someone who's easily intimidated. Right. And if their intimidation has nothing to do with me and has to do with their own shortcomings, right? Like we go on a date and you see the car that I pull up in and now you feel a way that I didn't do nothing. So what I'm supposed to take an Uber so you could feel better? Like, come on, right? So if your intimidation is your own, but as a woman, don't lead with what you got. this the car I got and this what I'm doing. Don't do that. You lead with who you are as a human being to see if there's a match. Because I could lose the car. I get in an accident tomorrow, God forbid, right? I could lose the car any day. The business might suffer, right? This podcast might come out. It might not be well taken. And then now it blows up. I'm viral. Nobody like me anymore. So I could lose all of it. But who I am as a human being is never going to change. And hopefully whoever I'm dating, if we work out, they love me for me and not the degrees or the business or the house or the car or the jewelry or whatever that might be. So that's what I would say, is to soften your approach with that. However, some people are easily intimidated because they are bums and that's their business. And there's nothing that you can do that would make them feel any better. And you are going to be unhappy in your relationship if you constantly have to coddle them and stroke their ego in order for them to feel like a man. A man should feel like a man on his own. It's not a responsibility. And just like a woman should feel like a woman on her own. It's not the responsibility of the partner to make you feel that way. You should encourage them, sure. Baby look real sexy. Maybe you slap her butt, make her feel a little feminine, give her some flowers. But she got to do a lot of that stuff on her own. Yeah.
I saw you were talking about not leading with your accomplishments and different things. Like it's the values that's important. Like you said, a woman may hang on to a man for a job, but he could lose that job tomorrow. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So again, what's the Instagram?
Align with Alison, ALIGN with Alison.
Oh, okay.
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everything.
What did you think about the content by Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tates and guys like that?
So I'd like to say, first of all, that I think it's important that we don't put them in the same sentence. I don't think that the content that Kevin Samuels was creating, I understand why people think is in alignment, but it's vastly different. To me, Andrew Tate, I didn't watch a lot of it because, again, what did I talk about? You watch it, you like it, you share it, you comment, you're a part of the problem, right? So I watched maybe 2 hours worth of Kevin Samuels videos just so I can have an understanding of who this dude is. And Andrew Tate, I saw popping up here and there. He seemed violent. He, to me, really hates women. I don't know who did what to him. I don't know, somebody molested him when he was a little boy. His mom was abusive. I don't know. He clearly, and which is evident by him being in prison right now for sex trafficking or whatever the hell he did in Romania. Violent, hateful man. My opinion on Kevin Samuels is that I don't think that he even believed a lot of the stuff that he said. I don't think so. I think he believed some of it. I think that some of it was valid. But I think that he is a shock jock, right? Similar to Howard Stern. You say things, and I think he understood the value of going viral. I think he understood the value of saying shocking things so that he can make money. And he made a shitload of money off of a lot of dudes who were angry at women and were so happy to finally see somebody stick it to women because they didn't have the words or they didn't have the access to do so.
Give me something from him that you thought was valuable.
It's been a long time since I listened.
Because he too said I'm here to help the black family. That's what his intentions were.
He also has a video where he said that when he was trying to speak to men for them to change their behavior to improve the black family, they weren't listening. The content wasn't going anywhere. Right. And as soon as he began to get into women, that's when he blew up. So that's what he's going to continue to do. Yeah. So how much, I don't know. I think he was helping himself. I really do think so. A lot of it I don't think was valuable. I think it was mean and hurtful. And the thing is, you have to be, if you care to make a difference, if you care to make people listen, you have to be mindful of your approach. You're not going to listen. If you just start screaming and insulting people, right, and carrying on and hanging up on them, they're not going to change their behavior. So you care about being a shock jock. But nonetheless, I'm trying to think about something. There's definitely things. Just so you know, just so the audience knows, I'm pausing, not because I think there's not much to say. I'm just trying to think about it because there was definitely things he said. I think maybe overall about being realistic about your standards, right? In the same thing that I say, but when I say it, it's you can understand and appreciate it. Being realistic about your standards. Do you have what you're looking for in a partner? Can you complement it? Are you asking for too much? Are you being unrealistic? That general thread of conversation, I think, was very valuable. Some things that were not valuable, insulting people personally, were not valuable to, because I'm sure there's value. Like I said, a lot of bum-ass niggas who didn't get a chance to curse the women out that they wanted to curse out, they finally felt empowered vicariously through him. But valuable in the sense of really making a change. There's a lot of stuff like the insulting of women. You don't need to do all that in order to get your point across. And then the spitting, I feel like he revolutionized or pioneered using random statistics to prove your point that are not valuable. So like one of the things that he made super popular is 70% of women are the ones who are filing for divorce, right? Which may be a true statistic, but no one's asking why, right? Like even a statistician knows that you just don't take a number and just spit it out and leave it alone. Right. I might say that 85% of men who are in prison are black men, right? Insinuating that, what does that mean? Like you could draw many conclusions. Yep. The conclusion that racists will draw is that black men are violent and criminal, and that's why they're there. The conclusion that you and I might draw is that we are targeted as a people, and that's why we're there. You can't just say a number and then draw a conclusion based on a number and say, well, that's what it was. 70% of women are the ones who are filing for divorce, so clearly they're the problem. Maybe it is that 70% of those women are being abused by the partners that they're with. And that there could be so many things. Maybe 70% of those women are assholes and then they shouldn't be ending their marriage. So I think that one problem is that he pioneered the use of a statistic to draw your own conclusion instead of doing any deep digging. They say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Numbers do lie if you don't talk about what the cause of those numbers are. Or numbers can't lie. We, as men or women, can misrepresent those numbers
without question
to prove a point. And that's not fair. And I think that he pioneered that, which has been a problem since.
I want to get into the business a little bit, but I want to first ask you, did you see what happened with Zion Williamson?
I knew you was going to ask me that. That's what I thought I was here for, because I'm like, what? This is a sports pod. Like, how else can I fit with that? Or the dude who paid like $500,000 to go out with Ice Spice.
Oh, Jordan Poole?
Yeah. I'm like, what else could we be talking about? Yeah. I know about...
What'd you think of that situation? I felt sorry for him. Here you are, a monumental time in your life. You're announcing that you're about to have a baby.
With a stripper.
He's having a baby with the stripper?
Yeah. Who you're talking about is a porn star, sex worker.
Yes. Yeah. He is having a baby.
The baby's with a stripper for sure.
We're not shaming her, are we?
I'm not. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. Yo, it's a very exciting time in your life. You're about to bring in a new life. Mm-hmm. And then you got some work over here talking junk. I felt for him. I felt compassion. Everybody's mocking him and joking.
I do not.
Why not?
Is she lying? The only way I could feel bad for him is if she is absolutely insane. She is lying. She's never slept with this man. That's the only way I could feel bad for him.
Alison, if they slept together, we slept together. You're not entitled to the rest of my life.
Right. But if you slept with her while you were with your pregnant girlfriend, your now pregnant girlfriend, that means you cheated on your girlfriend, potentially while she was pregnant, which is a double slap in the face. You get exposed.
Who said we were committed? You was on payroll.
With the stripper?
Yeah. No, with the porn star.
Right, no, but he was committed to his girlfriend he's having a baby with, and he was having sex with that girl. That's what she's saying. So if she's telling the truth, you were cheating on your girlfriend with a porn star, you're cheating potentially, if I don't know the timeline, while she was pregnant, you get exposed. Being exposed can only happen if you've done the deed. I'm exposing a truth. So if she's exposing a truth, don't do the deed. That's like telling somebody, I feel bad that you went to jail for robbing an old lady. Don't rob old ladies. Don't cheat on your girlfriend, potentially pregnant girlfriend, with someone who is clearly an attention seeker, right? If you have sex on video, you like attention, you seek attention. What did you expect? You're getting everything that you deserve.
Nah.
No?
Nah,
don't do the.
That's the pitfalls for a brother out here. Hold on,
pitfalls.
He's having a baby.
Fault. He had sex with a woman outside of his relationship. What do you expect?
Hold a porn star?
He's in a committed relationship with the girlfriend who's formerly a stripper, who's actively pregnant right now.
Do we know that he was in a committed relationship?
He's in a relationship. I don't know.
Yo, I'm out here doing my thing. This woman gets pregnant. You know what? I want to pivot, go in that direction. Be a father. And you got these people back here barking and telling stories and threatening to release sex tapes. Why?
Don't record the tape. Was it recorded illegally?
You're not entitled to my life. Like, if you
can't, what's the expression? If you can't take the time, don't do the crime. Yeah. How are you having sex on video? You are a celebrity, and no one should. You are a fool for having sex on video, period. You are a celebrity. You are also having sex on video with a porn star who sells videos. She sells sex videos. That's what she does for a living. You're doing it, and you didn't think that this would be exposed. You did it to yourself.
But from what I've seen in exchanges, they were actually friends that cared about each other.
Okay.
Why would you do this to me?
Why would you have sex with your friend?
That's just foul. And I really felt for that brother. Like, yo, here I am about to announce to the world that I'm having a child, baby shower and everything, and you're going to stomp all over that for selfish reasons. All of that was self-serving from that woman.
Sex with another woman is also self-serving. It's also selfish. You got somebody already. Even if he's not in a committed, even if he's not in a committed relationship, you understand that when you and men know this, that women tend to emotionally attach after sex. That's what they say.
Yes.
Right? So you had sex with this other woman and you're surprised that she's losing it? Isn't that normal? Like, isn't it well known that after a man has sex with a woman, she becomes emotionally attached and then she tends to, quote unquote, misbehave. Whatever that might look like. Call the job and try to get you in trouble.
That's not right.
It's not right. But you know what else isn't right? Knowing that this is how supposedly women automatically react, doing the deed anyway, and then being surprised at the reaction. I hate that. I hate when people
Why you can't be a boss about it, sis? We did what we did. Be a boss about it.
What's a boss? Meaning being masculine about it?
No, like...
And just, sex is sex and I should be pleased? And that's
if
it?
that's the arrangement...
Everyone says, y'all say that women shouldn't do that. It should not be transactional. Y'all say that women only have sex with guys that they actually like. So when women cheat, it's even more offensive. It's not just about sex. Y'all say that women become attached emotionally. So you know all of this about us. You do it anyway. You announce this pregnancy, at least according to the woman, Mariah, the porn star. She was not aware of the pregnancy. So she's finding out with everybody else.
I don't have to make you aware.
Yes, you had, not you, sorry. He had sex with this woman. Y'all say that y'all know we become emotionally attached. So you're surprised when she behaves in an emotional way? That's your business. You knew what you was doing. Y'all say this. So you pay the cost to be the boss.
Fair enough.
But, actually, let me correct something that I said, though. When I said you want her to boss up, she does do this for a living. so maybe she shouldn't have been as emotional. You know what? Let me correct
she
that.
She ain't get that payday. Or she don't get that 17% for the next 18 years or something. Like, come on, man. Dudes out here doing their thing.
She's wilding. She got a tattoo.
Yeah, she had no problem. She knew he was messing around. She mad at the baby.
Yeah.
Yo, this is my son. Like, yo, relax, man. That was messed up.
Yeah, she's mad at the fact that he had a baby.
Speaking of bossing up, man, we all got ideas and different things, but to turn that into a viable business is not easy. So, talk to me. How does it work with the clients? If somebody needs help, walk us through that process.
So, first of all, they have to acknowledge the fact that they want to be in a loving, committed relationship that potentially leads to marriage. A lot of women are afraid to say that out loud because they're afraid to fail, right? If I say I'm losing 20 pounds, I've been saying it on my platform for the last 3 weeks. If I don't lose the 20 pounds, y'all looking at me like, damn, Al, you said you, right? So saying out loud, I want to be married. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mom. I want to be in a happy, committed relationship. They got to admit that first, right? And it's scary to do. Number two, they need to admit the fact that clearly they're 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. They haven't figured it out yet, and they need some help. 3, they need to recognize I'm the person who can help them. They like my style. There are lots of other coaches. I don't think that's successful, but lots of other coaches who have different styles, and they like my style. They like that I'm forceful, that I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm not going to hold, I'm going to hold their hand through the process as I'm pulling them across the finish line. So once all that is established, then what they would do is book a consultation call. So let's get on the phone. We talk for 15 minutes. I ask them a series of questions to assess if I think they're a good fit for the program. What I'm looking for, very simply, is that they're emotionally stable. I mean that, like, literally, I do ask about mental health diagnoses. I ask about medication. I ask about therapy. Because you cannot build a relationship or a life with someone else if you're not emotionally stable. Number 1. Then number 2, I ask about what their goals are. Make sure it's in alignment with mine. For instance, I am a proponent of a monogamous relationship. If they're looking for poly, I don't know how to create that kind of relationship. So is it in alignment with what I do? And then the last piece is, are they prepared to do what I tell them to do? And what I tell them to do is be willing to do a mindset shift. Are you willing to start believing there are good men out there? If you're willing to put in that work with me, are you willing to go out socially? Are you willing to go on dating apps? If you're willing to do what I tell you to do, you will win. Once we finish the call, they submit payment, we get the coaching.
How long does that coaching last?
So the program is 6 months. It's called The Partner You Deserve. It's a 6-month program. We do 8 weeks of live instruction where we meet on Zoom face-to-face, and we go through a whole curriculum with a workbook, with homework, all that kind of stuff. 8 weeks of that, and then it's 4 months of support. So they get my direct cell phone number, and they can literally text me 24/7 for those 4 months with whatever questions or concerns that they have. It as minor as Allison, Will wants me to fly to Chicago to meet his mom. Should I go? It's a little fast. Is he gonna kill me on the trip? Or it could be as minor of, oh, I'm going on a date with this guy named Will, and I don't know what I should wear, and I really like him. What do you think? I'm gonna send you a picture of him. Oh, he's cute. Whatever. Right. So that's 4 months of unlimited access and support of whatever they need. Hey, Allison, I met a guy. He has 5 out of 6 of the non-negotiables. Should I give in on the 6th one? Whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the 6th one again? What is it? And how is he not showing up? And is there any? I don't believe in dating for potential. We too old for that. I dated for potential when I was 20 because we both had potential. I don't know where we're going. At this point, we're in our late 30s. You need to be relatively where I would accept. I don't need you perfection, but can I accept you for where you are right now in your life? If I can, cool. I'm not going to say I'm not happy enough or I'm not content enough about where you are, but I think you can grow more, so I'm going to date you. Nah, I'm cool with where he is now. If he grows more, great. If he doesn't grow more, that's okay with me, at least as of right now. But what's number 6 again? Is there, what can we do with it? Right. So that's what it looks like. 8 weeks of instruction, 4 months of support.
Does it ever get contentious between you and the client? Because you're pushing them to do things they may not be comfortable with.
Yeah. I warn them in the beginning, and I say around week 6, you're going to be annoyed with me. Some people visibly show it. It's rare, maybe like 4 or 5 people. And the other 200 or so, they either aren't annoyed with me or they don't show it. Right. I've had a few people really push back. I'm tired of these dating apps. I'm not doing it. So okay. Well, I said you paid me. So if you refuse to do it and you don't get the results, then please remember that. Please remember that you're choosing not to follow the program. Right? Just like a fitness trainer. You eating cookies and cake and ice cream outside, and you're paying me to be your fitness trainer, and you don't get the results you want. Just don't tell nobody he's not a good trainer. Make sure you tell them that you was eating cookies and cake and ice cream outside of our sessions. Yeah. So please don't tell nobody that I took your money and I'm wasting your time and it doesn't work if you're not willing to do what I'm telling you to do.
Copy. Motherhood. Talk to me about it.
It's hard. It's indescribably hard. And I only got a 10-month-old. I'm sure it probably gets worse as it goes on. But what makes it hard? 2 things. Number 1, lack of sleep. This is very, very straightforward. Lack of sleep. And because I work from home and my husband is on the road and his job is dangerous, I could, quote unquote, demand that he does more of the overnights. I don't. I work from home. I have the flexibility. You out in these streets, if you not paying attention, you could lose a finger, lose a foot, kill yourself, kill somebody else. Yeah. So I let him sleep through the night. I know that's not a popular thing. The women hate that because they feel like dudes are getting away with murder, and they absolutely are. In my circumstance, it's an L that I'm prepared to take because it's reasonable. Lack of sleep fucking sucks.
That's the sacrifice you make for your family.
The sacrifice I make so he lives and I have him in my life. I've aged considerably in the last 10 months as a result. My skin has suffered considerably in the last 10 months as a result. My weight, I talked about the plus 20 pounds. I keep talking about it so I can hold myself accountable to it. I got a gym session in a couple hours, don't mind that. And losing confidence. Remember I said I'm an overly confident person? Losing confidence over that, right? Not feeling as sexy or desirable as a result. So it's a huge sacrifice, sleep, number 1. Number 2, when they talk about expensive, like, I didn't get it. And let me tell you why. All right, childcare, diapers, food, whatever. Everything that I do, I have to pay for. Everything that I'm on this pod, I'm paying for it, right? I'm going to the gym, I'm paying for the session, and I'm paying for the childcare. Like, dinner costs $100? Nah, dinner costs $200 because I got to pay $100 to somebody to watch my kid. So it's really expensive. I'll tell people, I know that it's not advised to have children later on in life. I highly recommend it.
Why?
Because
financially?
Because of the finances. And I have to say no a lot of times, right? Because, again, everything costs double because of childcare. So if I had to say no when I was 25, damn, I can't go to Miami with my friends, can't go to Carnival because of childcare. I can't do this because of child. I can't go to the birthday dinner because of childcare. I can't get my hand. I'd be mad when I'm 25 years old that I'm constantly being denied the fun and the social. I'm 30. I'm really 37. I don't care. I don't want to go to Miami Carnival anyway. So ain't no skin off my back. I didn't have my fun. I'm good.
You got a little boy or girl?
Little girl.
Little girl. What impact did that have on the relationship? Because y'all was young, cutting up, doing what y'all want to do. What's it like?
So I've always been somebody who played the house. So for me not being, ain't no skin off my back. My husband, Drew, he is a socialite. He's outside. There was a big, I think on 121st, he's from Harlem. On 121st, there was this big block party. It's going viral. It's everywhere. Yeah. They had live band, everybody in the street. He's still talking about last night. Yo, I missed it. He's still mad. So having a child, I think, has really negatively impact his ability to be outside, to go out, to socialize, to be out with his friends. I got to be home. I want to spend time with my kid, and I don't want to leave my wife to have to do all the work. Right. If you really love your wife, you're not going to leave her to do everything. It's just not cool, right? In terms of our relationship, we get along really well. I would say we've had, in almost 7 years, we had 2 big arguments. Big, curse words used, big arguments. And not much bickering. Since the baby, we had some significant bickering around the baby. Today, I'm like, hey, don't forget I'm going to the gym. You got to pick up the baby. Oh, I'm getting a haircut. I told you last night I had a gym session. Why you didn't tell me about the haircut? Oh, I forgot. Well, you forgot. That's your problem, right? So the bickering, right? So, but nothing crazy. And I think it's important. And I think this also comes with age once you get older as an older parent, that you just don't allow the child to become your whole life. So when we go out on dates, when we have our date night, I'm purposely saying I'm not going to talk about this baby on this date, right? If I was 27, oh, the baby, she blew a bubble. Oh, it's so cute. The baby all the time. So now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm like, I need to make sure that I'm still prioritizing my marriage and it's not all about the baby all the time.
Throughout the day, how conscious are you that I'm a wife and I have a partner that I need to take care of and serve? And I ask that because it's you, it's your business, you're a mom, you got your own family, siblings, parents. How conscious are you? I need to do X, Y, Z. Oh, my man, he didn't go to the Harlem party. Let me throw a barbecue in the backyard or something. How much does that consume you?
I think it kind of is all intertwined, especially with my work, because I said, a significant portion of my work is my own familial success and my marriage's success. So I think it's all intertwined, is that in order for me to throw the barbecue in the back, I got to work, right? So it's all connected. And then in order for me to work, I got to have childcare. So everything is balancing. It's what do you call it? Juggling. You're constantly juggling everything because one thing depends on the other. I don't think I actively think about how can I show up as a better wife today. I don't think I think about that on a daily basis. I do ask it, baby, you okay? Are you happy? Is there anything that you need? What's going on? I ask that probably once. I'm probably very annoying. I ask it once a week minimum. Everything okay? How can I make you happier? I think he's a very traditional man in the sense of he's not very expressive. So I ask, and I always get everything's fine. I hope it's fine. I think it's fine. But you never know. So that's why you have to constantly ask and check in. But it's not something that I think about. I think consciously of how can I show up as a better wife or a better mother today. It's what's the task? What's on the list of things to do? Drop the baby, do the podcast, have a session at 2:30, go to the gym at 4, pick up the baby at 5. And I think that's showing up as a good wife. I'm showing up as a good wife because I'm caring for the child. I'm showing up as a good wife because I'm making sure that I'm working actively and contributing to the household. I'm showing up as a good wife by taking care of my health internally so I could live long, and externally so that you're still sexually attracted to me, right? So everything that I do on a daily, I think, feeds into showing up as a good wife and a mom.
And the reason I ask that is because throughout my life, I've been an excellent partner.
If you say so yourself.
Nah, I'm saying that. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I played college basketball. I was fortunate to win 2 city championships. I know what it is to be a part of the team. I know what it is to be selfless. You know what I'm saying? And I have good intuition. So when it comes to my partner, I feel like I know what it takes to serve them. I ain't got to ask you a question. I'm going to say, yo, get dressed, we out. And next thing you know, we at your favorite place, but whatever. And because of that, I'm always in that mode. I end up getting exhausted and burnt out. And, and I start to look at my partner like, yo, you can't match what I do. What's up?
So why don't you slightly reduce it? You are outperformer, you are overperformer. Is that fair to her?
I'm starting to do that.
Because if you're saying I do, and then she's not, not outrageously, she's just a bum who's just don't care about just one thing. But if it's it's the way you describe it, nobody can measure up. Hardly nobody can measure up.
It's a sport to me. It's like fun.
It's competitive.
Yeah.
But you said you getting burnt out. Now it ain't fun no more. Yeah. So you got to turn it down. I had that problem with a business that I was running with some partners, and I'm like, I'm ODing, like I'm doing everything. I'm like, I know every element of this business, and y'all don't barely know y'all part. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, I can't change them, so all I'm gonna do is reduce my contribution. And if some things fall to the wayside and some emails not sent out or some schedule, oh well, you doing 80%, I'm gonna do 80%. And whatever's case sera, sera, what will be, will be. We'll see what happens with this business. But I can't make you do more, so I'm just gonna chill a little bit. I can't control you. I can only control me.
That's it. We forget anything?
Nah, I think we got to cover. You covered way more. I'm telling you, I thought I came in here for Zion. I didn't even think about it though. Actually, my friend said that. She's like, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm gonna be on this sports podcast." She said, "What the hell you gonna talk about?" I said, "I guess Zion. I don't know. I don't know what no other relation. You know what I'm saying?" Or like you said, the other dude, the Poole.
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole.
Let me tell you this. I know when I first reached out, he was like, "How we gonna match love with sports?" But here at WBH Radio, not just about sports. We want to talk about winning. We want to talk about leadership. And my friend, you know, I've been watching you from afar. I think you're doing amazing work.
Thank you.
You know, I think you are really saving lives, no exaggeration. And you had a birthday party years ago. You walked in dancing to Jocelyn's song, or at least that was the video.
Yeah.
And outside was your dream car with a bow on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting back, I'm like, oh, snap, I really know that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, you represent somebody that wanted something and took the steps to go get it. No different than Mike or Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even exaggerating. And I want people to know, because, like, yo, it's not just, I think sometimes we see somebody with like a social media following, like, nah, this person really living that life.
Yeah.
I walk my dogs, I see your husband, yo, Will, what up? I'm like, yo, this is a great guy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's a great guy. That's what he's a socialite. Like, he know all the neighbors. He know all the dogs. Like, all the cars. Like, this is ridiculous.
His energy is like, yo, is this guy from New York? Like, I'll be dragging in the morning. He like, yo, Will, what up? You saw what the Jets did? I'm like, yo, that's dope. So that's what you represent to me. Somebody who had dreams, had goals, and went after them, and is living the life that they want. And that's the story I wanted to tell today.
Well, I'm glad. It's funny. I know you're wrapping up, but I was talking to my husband today, and I was talking about, like, when parents post after their kid graduates, like kindergarten or first grade, oh, I'm so proud. I'm like, what are you proud about? Like, it's a given. Like, your kid is supposed to graduate. I'm not hype after high school. Like, all right, college, all right, we could talk about I'm so proud. And not to say that you can't be moved. Like, you know, it's representative of them taking next steps and growing up, and oh my God, the baby gonna leave the house soon. But proud, I'm like, so I had a kind of a back and forth with my best friend about it. Like, I'm proud of my son, and he just graduated kindergarten. I'm like, okay, whatever. And he was like, well, aren't you proud of what you've accomplished? And I'm like, to be honest with you, no. And I don't know if that's like the abusive West Indian household of never congratulating you and you got a 94. What happened to the other 6 points? Like, I don't know if that's where it's from. But I'm like, I'm not proud. It's like, I decided I want something. I create a plan. I might hire somebody to help me. I find the money, hire somebody to help me. Then I get to the result. And then it's the next goal. Then it's the next goal. I started the podcast 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks today. Well, I published 6 weeks ago. And we charted. I'm charting on Apple. I think I'm at 197.
There you go.
Right? So it's like, yo, aren't you so excited? Congratulations. I'm like, yo, I work really hard. I don't know. I feel like I don't know what it would take for me to be proud of me, because
you still doing the work.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
it.
still working. I'm working. I'm busting my ass. I'm
That's
working mad hard. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I appreciate the kudos, but that's something that I got to work on with me, like psychologically. Like, why is I don't be proud of my friends neither. Yeah. Because the way that I put it, I say, duh.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you said that about the kindergarten stuff. Like, what we expect. Isn't that what we're working for?
Right. You my friend. I don't mess with bums. My friend got her doctoral degree, and I don't say it like that to them because I don't want them to feel like I'm proud but not proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the definition of proud. She's like, guys, I made it. I passed my dissertation. I'm like, of course you did. That's what I mean by that. Like, of course you did. Of course. What? You didn't have no other choice. You're a winner. You're a winner. This is what you do. This is what we do. So, nonetheless, this was something that was on my mind. I need to work that out about maybe finding a way to congratulate myself a little bit more. I'm still working.
There you go. I I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but actually I do. September 23rd, WBH Radio live show.
Yes.
Celebrating the community that's been built around this show. I need you.
Yes.
I need Mr. Drew in there.
Yes.
So you got to get that child care September 23rd.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is. How much is the ticket? Because you add $100 on that. Because that's the child care. Nothing is free.
That's it.
Yeah. Will tried to change the date on me. By the way, I said I could do it, but I already got the child care. Yeah. Yo, when you get, if you want children, I don't want to put it on you. If you want,
I'm a student of Malcolm too. I need an army.
All right. So when you had them, you gonna see like, yo, like people say it, but you don't really get it. One more thing.
Oh, I'm not gonna be raising them. I'm going to work.
Okay, not what hours?
Like Malcolm, like I'm going to give my life to the wall. So all that child care stuff, like they take care of it.
So you want children that you're not gonna be around to raise?
I'm living by example. I come home, sit at the dinner table. What'd you learn today? All right, cool. But as far as that everyday stuff, I'm not. It's not for me. And we can still be a unit. Mm-hmm. Non-negotiables. That's my role. I need to get up and go to work every day. I can't be dealing with X, Y, Z.
Okay. So then you need a woman who's in alignment with that, which is cool.
Cool.
I'm sure there might be a lot.
Boom.
Right. So how we gonna be affording? We could afford this lifestyle of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then
she may not get the range just yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Well, that's beyond affording, and that was an irresponsible purchase nonetheless. I wish I could take that shit back. Honestly, but it's worth less than what I owe, so I can't take it back. I'm gonna take a L driving that shit. That was a dumb choice, but it's okay. It was good. I was 35. It was good for the moment.
It was a great day. You had the bow on it. It looked like something straight out of, I don't know, Real Housewives of Brooklyn.
Indeed. But real though.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Alison, my friend, thank you.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to WBH Radio. I was your host, William Holly. We out.